Hey, everybody, it's Tuesday. Welcome to the Giant Bombcast, episode 852, August 6th, 2024. Holy smokes, I am your host, Jan Ochoa. Joining me, co-captain of the ship, as always, the sides of his head look buzzed, and he's buzzed right now because he's high off game news. Yeah. Jeff Grubb.
I'm huffing it. I'm dipping all the game news in a towel, and I'm just putting it over my face. Feels real good.
That's right. Speaking about being dipped, he's dipped in the game juices and the game sense because watch out if you invite him over to your house because he's going to dip your whole house, all your furniture, and game sense. Dan Reichert.
It's more of a spray than a dip, really. Although we did get there was some dip that happened at the place,
There was some dip, and I also dropped the game scent, so I think some spilled. Yeah, there's a lot
some
going on
spillage,
over there.
some dippage, some hat splats.
Ranch sauce everywhere, yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking about ranch sauce everywhere. Speaking about dip everywhere. Speaking about sense everywhere. We have the bad boy of games media from GameSpeed, Mike Minotti.
Hi, I'm Mike Minotti. I'm real bad.
Mike, I'm trying. You got to show up to like the next thing. Maybe it's a PAX or something with like a leather vest.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds
nothing
sounds hot. My dad did have a very big like motorcycle middle-age crisis thing though, so I could definitely get a leather jacket though. That part would be.
You know how like some leather jackets, like the Hell's Angels people will have a Hell's Angel or whatever stitched on the back. You could have you could have Quan Chi on the back of yours.
Okay, Quan Chi,
you know it.
That would rule.
Yeah, I would probably want something Disney. I would probably want one of those Epcot logos or something.
You could have both. What if it's like Quan Chi's face superimposed over
The
Epcot?
Hell's Angels would never mess with you if they saw that. That's
true.
He would get murdered immediately.
See, trust me, my big goal in life is to not be messed with. And right now, people do not mess with me. I don't think it's because they're intimidated, but whatever it is, I want to keep it going.
You're always talking about comments you see about you. Oh, they complain about my mic. You're getting messed with.
Though.
Those people are online, though. And as soon as they saw me and they realize I'm not actually like 5'2", they probably wouldn't say those things to my face.
Mike, what do you think is your perceived height?
Oh, I know people think I'm like 5'5" or something usually. I mean, it's been such a thing at this point now, though, that most people know I'm actually 5'11", so it's fine, but people still seem pretty surprised. I don't know.
The word is spread. The rumors are out there. He's 5'11", everybody. All the kids are talking about it.
They've seen you in a Disney video of sorts, either on this website, Min-Max, somewhere else.
Yeah, it happens.
At this point.
What do you suggest? Whenever I go to the doctor and they measure me, they always say I'm 5'10" and a half. And so when they ask me how tall I am on things, well, the thing is, I don't want to say 5'11" because I don't want to seem like I'm over-exaggerating. But also 5'10" is underselling it. Like, what do I say?
Everybody has a roundup privilege, Dan. It's okay.
Yep.
One
integer roundup privilege is completely fine. Yes.
But I don't need it is the thing. I'm fine with if it's 5'10" more accurate to say.
It's easier just to say you're like 5'10" and a half. They would just round up to 5'11".
Okay, all right. I guess I'll say.
What if they needed to design a room for you, right, and to make sure it's just the perfect height? If you say 5'11", you have a little bit of space. That's okay. Yeah. But you say 5'10" and you don't fit. Oh no.
Your neck will be cramped and everything. Yeah.
Good point. Yeah.
Now, if they're building you seatbelts and like you say you're 5'11", there's too much slack. You're gonna fly off into space.
Right.
So
yeah.
Okay. Fair.
What about me? Sometimes when I put my hair, when I do my hair, it adds at least like 3 inches to my overall height.
That's fine.
Should I just measure from the top of my hair?
No, you're not leaving your hair at home. It's you. That's part of you. That counts.
Okay.
Thank
you.
I could be even taller if I had hair.
Yep.
I'll give you some of mine, Mike.
Okay.
You can go to Turkey. Mike, you should go to Turkey and do the hair transplant.
I did mention this to them as well because like I was talking about the toupee lady. And then I think I told them the story about how like maybe Turkey was going to have Dan go out there. I don't know. Is that an offer on the table still?
No, that's not.
They offered that like 2 or 3 years ago, and I don't even know if I responded. And I was like, I'm fine, shaving my head. It's okay.
I think I could get at least half of an inch if I fix my posture. There's that one photo of me from the trip. Everybody was photoshopping, but I hated that photo of me. I had like the worst turtle.
I posted it. Yeah.
Look, it's fine. It's not your fault. Thank you for body shaming me. No, it's fine. You didn't mean to.
Wow.
But like,
I posted a picture of you.
I know, but like the turtleneck is out of control. Like my weird back hair is popping up from my bad back bump because I have
back
bad
hair,
posture.
Mike. It's just your back hair.
Look, let me be insecure about my appearance. Damn it!
I'm trying to inject some positivity into this goddamn podcast.
You guys, by the way, do you guys ever get anxious before like a big trip, even when it's a couple weeks out?
Yes, I've been thinking about sitting for 2 hours in Twisters, only thinking about my overseas flight, freaking out about it. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, I'm looking forward to raw dogging the crap out of this flight.
Oh my God.
I'm already thinking about what I'm gonna think about later.
Oh my God. I'm doing the absolute I got fucking XR glasses so I can lay down and just like be in a game the entire time. Like I seriously got those X-Real glasses just to like plug into my Steam Deck. I'm just going to play SteamWorld Heist the entire fucking flight, hopefully.
Hell yeah.
And forget that I'm on a plane.
See, I don't really mind the flight. I just hate like, I got to leave soon and I got to get all these things done. Now that I like have the flights actually booked, I got to make sure Penny gets her boarding done and and whenever I come back, it's a mess. I don't know why my plumbing just does not like being used for a week. So whenever I come back, like my shower drain just doesn't work for a while. And then after a while, it's like it like remembers, like, oh shit, he's back, everybody. The water's got to go down here.
We got to clock in again.
Yeah, the little gremlins that live in the pipes are like, all right, fine, he's back.
We got to start drinking the water again, or whatever happens to that. I don't know.
Boys, speaking about flights and trips, some of y'all took a little trip down to Ohio to see SummerSlam, and we'll talk about SummerSlam proper on a Power Bombcast later this week. But I couldn't help but feel FOMO.
I won most of the games we played. I'm sorry, I couldn't help myself.
No, I
you're on my
also
team.
won against Minotti. I beat Minotti's Pac-Man score, and I beat him at Virtua Fighter, despite the first thing we did when we got there. He's like, oh, who wants to get schooled at Virtua Fighter? And I went up and I beat him.
Okay, wait a second. Now, you're just mixing in the lies with the truth so much I can't keep up. Yes, you beat me at Virtua Fighter, and then I beat you at Pac-Man, but then Jeff destroyed us. And Pac-Man laughed us so hard, I would be embarrassed to even mention it.
Wait, what part did I lie about? What part did I lie about?
I got embarrassed in pinballing.
The part where you beat me in Pac-Man.
I didn't. The first time you beat me, and then I beat your score. I got over 20,000. You had 17,000.
All right, I don't remember that if it's true then.
Okay,
this is after you watched me play and had given up and walked away.
I think I may have left because I don't think I was interested in watching Dan play Pac-Man
anymore. No, we went back over there. It's not my fault you weren't paying attention. I didn't lie.
All right, then I choose to believe you.
Anyway, I got like double the points of either of them in Pac-Man.
Wait, Grub, I beat you at bowling.
Yes.
Was it shoot bowling?
It was pin bowling, duck pin, and everyone beat me in that, yeah.
Well, yeah, but Tyler won one, so like, who even cares about second place? Yeah.
But I beat both of you, which is the important thing.
And then we played bocce ball, and me and Mike did team up for that, and we were a pretty good team. Yeah, it was good for that.
What's bocce ball?
Oh, it's the best. It's great.
It's Italian.
Yeah, I'm just letting Mike go because it's Italian.
Yeah, Mike, go for it.
It's like shuffleboard, but with little rolly balls.
But my point of reference is curling. It's like curling, but on grass.
And you can do it in like a long aisle in a bar, with like a grass, like fake grass surface, or you can do it outside and just go around like a house or a farm or whatever you want to do. But you throw a tiny ball and then you got to throw the bigger balls to get close to it.
The Pauline.
Yep.
I think it's like a Paulino.
Sure.
Wow. Look, I didn't want to get that Italian with you guys, all right? It was your first time.
You throw the Caravella, and then you throw the bigger balls at it.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
And then, it's like if you're closer than the other team, you get that point. But then if you have another ball closer than the next ball from the other team, you get 2 points, that sort of thing. And we were going to 21. And it was we had 18 points, and the other team was pretty far behind at this point. You guys, Dan and Tyler had about like 9, and we're about to win. Mike just has to basically roll it in. He's done this a million times in the game. We would have won, and instead he did math bad and thought we had 21. We only had 20, and he drops the ball, so we don't get that point. Turns around, we won, and the other team's like, Tyler's like, I think. Isn't that just 20? And then I look at the spreadsheet we had, and then Mike was very embarrassed.
But Mike also did it in the super kind of flourish, like, ha, beat ya, I'm just going to throw it in front of me way.
Yeah.
And then he was
don't need
wrong.
this anymore.
And then Dan and Tyler almost came back and won. It was like they won the next several rounds.
Yeah,
true. Proper Olympians that I work with here. Wow.
We played a hook game. We played table soccer.
Because I was telling Mike and Mary about the hook game last
hooky,
night, and Mary was like, "Wait, are you talking about ring toss?" I was like, "No, it's not ring toss." And she's like, "You're describing ring toss like it was something else, right?"
I mean, something brand new. I think maybe 16-bit invented it.
Yeah, I've never seen this before.
I mean, you are tossing a ring.
I know.
Ring toss is like trying to get it on bottles, right?
Yeah, or something on the ground, like posts. This is like a big ass like dartboard with hooks on it, and you got to throw the rings onto the hooks.
And it has similar dart style rules where you're trying to get what we were trying to get. Like 69,
I just looked up
right
hooky, and it showed up. It's hooky.
Okay,
it's very fun.
Anyway, I was
OKY.
That was another one we did. Best 2 out of 3 was me and Mike versus Tyler and Dan as well. And Tyler's someone from the industry. Everybody we're just referencing Tyler. Hi, Tyler. You were a lot of fun to hang out with.
Hey, Tyler.
And we won the first game, and then we're doing the second game, and I think that's when I got very locked in and started getting the highest score on every single throw. And I just kept doing it, and Mike's like, wait, and I was so locked in I didn't stop, and I had gone over, and that was against the rules, so we had to actually subtract points from our score instead. So
you did too well, is what you're telling me.
I did too well, right? So
what did I say? It's like you just keep on throwing, huh?
Yeah, you just keep on throwing, and it really popped me. Yeah.
And there was a soccer cage, and Grub went on that.
Yeah,
we got shout out to 16-bit in west side of Cleveland. Check it out, everybody.
Seriously, I've been to a bunch of arcades and stuff and up downs and all that, and like I love all of them, but like this is probably the best one I've been to. Like between all the different like bar games, the beer situation, the whole place is really like clean and sharply laid out and everything. Like the duck pin stuff downstairs, that place was awesome.
Yep,
explain duck pin to me, please.
It's bowling, but the ball is smaller and there's more pins. And
and the pins are on strings.
And the pins are on strings.
It's 10 pins. It's 10 pins.
It is 10 pins?
You get more frame. You get 3 rolls of frame.
That's right. Yeah. So you get 3 but it's very easy. Like if you're throwing it too hard into like 2 like down the middle, I would just hit the 2 in the middle and it would just roll past all the rest.
Is it closer to a skee ball type of size or scale?
Bigger than that. Somewhere between skee ball and shoot bowling.
It's about the size of a softball.
Okay.
Yeah. And that was a lot of fun as well. And like I began to understand what I needed to do, but like Tyler immediately was just getting it correct. It was like putting a little bit of just a tiny touch on it so that it would cause more chaos. And I was just like heaving it down there and was not working at all. And if you're wondering why they didn't mention who won the soccer game, it's because I swept in that.
I said you went undefeated.
Oh, okay, but
that's true. That's true.
Man, my biggest regret of SGF is us not going to a batting cage.
Yeah, I really wanted to go. I missed my flight, so I was like planning to go there that day when I landed, and then I was like, okay, well that dream's out the window.
We should do that. Yeah.
Oh, Top-Golf as well is something I really want to do.
Top-Golf would be fun. You get a waitress.
I'm terrible at driving, but I'll still go.
Then I'll win. That's great.
Okay, sure.
We are so competitive. It's crazy.
I would love to do batting cage because like that was the part of baseball. Like I loved batting and I was pretty good at it, but fielding, I just was in terror all the time in the outfield. Just like, please don't hit it to me. Please don't hit it to me. Because just the panic of like, okay, you got to get the ball and then immediately figure out like, okay, who's going to second, third, what's the situation? Yeah. I would just kind of heave it and hope somebody would figure it out. Whereas like batting, I actually felt in control.
Right. Totally.
Yeah, I was the worst shortstop in Little League because I just kept backing up or getting too close, so I would avoid the ball completely. Went through 2 games never touching the ball, even though it was pivotal that I should.
Pivotal. Remember we went to Minotti Liquors finally?
We did.
I was like, I'm a Minotti, and he did not care.
As we walked in, I leaned over to Grub and it was like, he's going to say something to the guy about how his name is Minotti.
You're saying that.
Yeah, you overlapped it. You went up and you're like, my name's Minotti. He's like, okay.
He's like, so a lot of people here are. And I was like, well, they aren't back home. I think it's a pretty rare name, personally. I went up, you know what? I should be like, Google Minotti. Google Minotti. Let's see who comes up first. Let's see if it's your shitty liquor store. Let's see if it's me, damn it.
Well, it's not you when I Google Minotti.
Putting it on the goddamn wall. Mike Minotti's here.
I'm checking it. No, I Google Minotti
like
and I get a
furniture
company. Yeah, it's a sofa website.
Well, his personalized one is personalized to him. That's pretty good.
Hang on. If you search Minotti, you get a sofa thing. You get a wine and spirits thing. I think it's the place we went to.
Yeah.
You get Minotti London, Instagram account, upholstered furniture. You're not on. I'm scrolling down eBay listings. Philip Minotti. Philip Minotti, MD. This
is my favorite part of the episode.
Okay, wait.
You're not on here, Mike.
Yeah.
Google.
You're not even in the autocomplete, Mike.
Google Tokoto Minotti.
That's no.
I think I might come up sooner.
We've got high school wrestlers named Mitch Minotti from Lehigh University pops up before you. Mitch Minotti shows up before you. Lehigh University Athletics, the wrestler. Yep.
When the guy at the liquor store picked up the phone after you introduced, did you think he was like maybe calling the owner, be like, "We got a Minotti here"? For a second, I was like, maybe that's what's happening. It wasn't.
No.
You got the obituary of Nancy Minotti. You got lawyers. Mike, I've seen like 50 listings, and your name's not on here anymore.
Yeah. I'm on page 2. My Twitter account's at the bottom of page 2 when I
Incognito
look at it.
tab.
What do you mean incognito tab?
Well,
Do
Google's.
you have your cookies activated on it?
Oh, you're saying that like
Your snickerdoodles.
Yeah. No. But I still gonna count this. Where are these other Minottis?
Well, opening liquor stores and sofa companies, Mike.
Naughty
Wait,
Chicago.
now I
Minnotti.
want to test if you just search Reichert. Oh yeah, it's all me. Cool.
Shut the hell up.
Mine is going to be 50-50 with me and the other Jeff
You
Grubb.
cheated by adding that T to your name. It's not supposed to be there.
Actually,
Okay.
no, right now it's going to be all Ryan Grubb. That's right.
I'll concede if you search Ochoa, it is Guillermo Ochoa, the Mexican goalkeeper. So it's fine. We're cousins. We're not actually cousins.
Minotti's spa looks nice though. It's like boutique furniture. It's very fancy. I'm gonna follow them on Instagram.
You don't even follow me, Mike, and you're going to follow.
I don't really use Instagram, but this seems like a good reason to.
Wow.
Oh, never mind. If you search Grubb on Google, I'm like the first thing with Twitter. Okay.
Grub.
It's like right after Grubb and Associates, at least for me.
Okay.
Mine's all me, and then it's my dad.
I gotta work on my SEO. It's not great.
The fourth result for me for Grub is award-winning fitness trainer, dance artist, and plant-based health coach.
Nice.
That's just
Yep.
Grub. Sebastian
just me.
Grub. Wow, this man is flexible. Wow.
I wish I was flexible.
You could be flexible.
Nah,
I know. I got to get
more
to
trouble
work.
that's worth.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means.
Before we talk about games, the only thing that happened to me over the weekend, besides having terrible shooting migraines, I'm taking any advice
Fun.
for
Help our
migraine
boy out.
relief.
You get one of those headache hats, Jan?
No, I found like a YouTube playlist with like warbly water music
Okay.
set to like relieve migraines, and then I'm hopped up on Excedrin.
Get one of those. It's a hat gimmick. It's filled with like gel. You put it in the freezer, and then you take it out, and you just put it over your head. And some of them have like basically like a sleep mask thing built in, so it's covering your eyes. Your whole fucking head's cold with ice. It feels great.
I could okay. I'm gonna look this
It's
up.
cold as ice. Dun, 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 dun. You sacrifice dreams of love.
Why does he know that? Is it in Lilo and Stitch or
I've
something?
seen Foreigner a few times.
Oh, okay.
I don't want anyone to be alarmed. All right. I know anytime that I talk about Las Vegas, card games, anything resembling gambling, Pokemon cards,
It's a long
anything
list.
involving money, everyone gets a little concerned about my well-being. Don't be concerned, everyone, but I've been invited to an underground Mahjong den in the Bay Area.
Per shoot?
For shoot.
Cash games?
Cash games, yes.
Oh, dear.
The list of things, the way you said it, was one of the most concerning sentences I've ever heard. And then the punchline there was very good. That's okay.
There's
Oh,
no
my.
punchline. This
Well,
is just the reality.
Yeah, sure. But sometimes reality's
people are
funny.
punchlines.
Yeah.
You know, I just happened to meet someone at like an art thing on Friday night, and then they were like, "Hey, do you play Mahjong by chance?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I love Mahjong." And then they sent me a link to an not underground, but like something that is being advertised as a Mahjong den. And they said like, "Yo, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, and then Saturdays are when like the high rollers come." And I'm like, "Okay, well, I'll see you next Saturday."
Have you seen The Deer Hunter?
No,
Okay.
should I?
It's just I'm just thinking of The Deer Hunter if anyone's seen it. So yeah, go on.
Okay. Anyway, yeah. So I'll report back, hopefully. And then I looked up the Mahjong place, and it's nothing but like blue neon lights and then like questionable tiles. So I'm kind of excited. Maybe it'll be a good time, and then I'll bring y'all to the Mahjong den.
All right. Well, now you're talking.
We'll
I've never
see.
learned. It's like I play so many games that have a Mahjong mini game, and I'm like, this time I'll learn, and then I don't. I
It's
get
kind of
scared.
like poker, kind
I'm
of.
more of a bocce ball guy.
Yeah, Dave was pretty good at bocce ball.
Yes,
I made
he
him an
was.
honorary Italian. He was doing so
That's a
well.
lot of good
Excellent.
shots. Yeah.
I hit up my grandma to help train me for this underground Mahjong den.
Well, let me ask a question about Mahjong, James.
Yes.
Okay, because I can't remember. I think it was Windows had a Mahjong game at one point,
That's
and it was
solitaire.
the tiles where it was like stacked up, and you had to like match the two but like That's different than like
That's Mahjong
shoot
solitaire.
Mahjong. Okay, like in Yakuza, I would see like Mahjong, like, oh hell yeah, I love that old Windows game, and then it was like, whoa, this is totally different.
Totally different. So Mahjong against like 3 other people is kind of like poker, where you're looking to fill like suits or hands. You want like 3 of a kind or like a sequence of tiles. But my grandma plays tiles down. Like she doesn't even look at her tiles. She just feels it with her hand, and then
Oh shit!
9 times out of 10, my grandma also hard of hearing. She'll feign like, "Oh, I'm old. I need help." Blah 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 blah. As soon as the Mahjong tiles come out, this lady is like a fiend.
So is that like, let's say you get dealt your cards and hold them, and like if you just do a bet, or you just call the blinds without even looking at them, like going in blind, is that the same concept?
Kinda, yeah.
Okay, wow.
And like
man.
I'm 100% sure that she's the person that taught my dad how to count cards, but with Mahjong tiles. Anyway,
Is it true the Mahjong tiles are made out of bones?
Every one of them, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's true.
Yeah.
I think that's a shoot.
It's my great grandpa's bones. Yep. That's,
Oh,
Wow.
I didn't think they were human bones. I thought, I don't know, maybe chicken bones or
no,
something.
no. That's how the tiles get passed down to the family.
That's cool.
Anyway, video games.
I was gonna tell me it's not cool because they had to kill an animal. I'm sorry, I don't condone it. I shouldn't do that.
Like so exasperated with the woke. Sorry, like
Yeah.
God, the woke left. Jesus Christ.
We talk about that a lot in Cleveland, yeah.
I'm so scared of the Liquid Death fans. All right.
They left a voicemail coming after you, Mike.
Yeah, I know they did.
There's a very clear sounding one from.
Yeah, some of you are really passionate about that water brand. It's okay. We don't have to talk about it anymore.
I saw some pictures of you with Liquid Death from the weekend.
Yeah, that's okay. Well, I was. There's that one night where I was just horribly dehydrated. I just like.
Oh, yeah.
I guess I just drank consistently throughout the day, and at the car ride back to my car, I think I almost died. I thought I was gonna make it to SummerSlam, and if somebody had offered me a Liquid Death then, I would have absolutely had taken it. Sure.
Do you still have the gifts I gave you?
The problematic DVDs, the Duck Dynasty and Bill Cosby stand-up special. Yeah, they're somewhere. I think they're in my car still. Thanks, Dan.
Did you put on your Plex?
No.
I got you a lot more than that. I got you that R2-D2 documentary that you already had.
Yeah, I was like, I already have this.
Oh, I stole that. That's mine now.
Documentary. Yeah, that. You got me MacGruber. That's nice.
Gremlins 2? I got some good stuff.
Wow, some hits.
It has been a while since I've seen Gremlins 2. The new
You should
batch.
watch it.
Yeah, I liked that movie as a kid, and I never even saw Gremlins 1 until probably like 6 years ago. I'm like, this one's fine, but Gremlins 2. Oh, there's cinema.
You ever played the NES game?
Yeah, it's great. Sunsoft, fantastic music.
Yep,
Good
definitely.
stuff.
Okay. Oh, check out that OST. In preparation for fighting my own demons at this Mahjong den, I've re-downloaded a game called Mahjong Soul. Ben Pack and I used to have a small, short-lived feature called Mahjong Mornings, where him and I would learn how to play Mahjong together and then eventually embark on this quest to play Mahjong properly. Mahjong Soul is a gacha-style game. I think it recently re-released on Steam, which is the reason why I re-downloaded it. And it is exactly that. You are playing against other folk, but it is all gacha-style in terms of characters and the set dressings of Mahjong. In terms of tutorialization, learning how to play Mahjong, it's actually pretty good compared to some other Mahjong games out there. But if you do want to learn how to slap dem tiles, I'd definitely recommend checking the tutorial for Mahjong Soul out. It's free to download, and then rip that cord immediately, delete that off of your phone, because I've been playing too much Mahjong again, and it is taking over my life. I remember I started this year thinking I want to embark on my poker era, and poker era has quickly diverted into Mahjong, and it's bad.
See. I wonder what is considered the best Mahjong video game of all time. 'Cause, like, I like to watch a lot of YouTube videos where people are like rapid fire a bunch of games, and they'll include Japanese releases. So there's always like a zillion Mahjong games that just never came out here. It's kind of hard for us to be like, well, this is the good Mahjong game, and this is the bad one.
I've heard good things about the Final Fantasy 14 Mahjong.
Yeah, I try. See, that's the last one. I was like, I'll learn this, and then I was like, don't know what's going on. I think it tried to teach me. I don't know what's going on there.
You heard about that Mahjong Balatro thing?
That's what I was just about to talk.
I was just about to ask. It seems like
excellent.
that's a game primed to be Balatroed.
Yes.
I checked out the demo. It's called Ao-Tenjo. Sorry if I'm butchering that pronunciation. There is a demo out on Steam and it is a Balatro-like. Feels weird to say in the same year that Balatro came out.
Right. So iconic already.
And it is exactly that. It has all of the trappings of Balatro, but is all Mahjong. They run you through how to properly make the hands and everything. But it isn't as snappy as Balatro is, and you kind of have to have an existing knowledge of everything going on in Mahjong versus Balatro. You can kind of get by just like matching colors, matching suits, and you can get by in Balatro without knowing anything about poker. But in Ao-Tenjo, at least right now in the early bits of it, it's doing the same thing where, okay, your multiplier is based off of how many tiles you're playing, the type of suits that you're playing, whether it's a sequence of 3, matching 3, whether or not you want your wind dragons and everything like that. It's okay, but also the art style is a little too simplistic to me. It's a little too... I miss the style and the steez of Balatro.
And this is just a demo, right? It's not a full game yet?
It's just a demo right now, yeah.
I mean, you're right. I can see what you mean. It's like it seems more simple than Balatro, but it also looks a lot like Balatro. This game
looks like a Balatro like D-make for Super Nintendo. That's all. Yeah.
Right.
It's just a little bit less of the Riz.
This game was 100% put in development after Balatro came out.
Speaking of Balatro and gambling, did you see what the creator of Balatro said like 7 hours ago, it looks like?
No.
He said, I hate the thought of Balatro becoming a true gambling game so much that when I recently created my will, I stipulated that the Balatro IP may never be sold or licensed to any gambling company or casino.
That's cool.
It's in his will. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Imagine, again, it would be a very dark day if I like walked into a casino and saw the Balatro licensed slot machine or something, or your video poker machine. That would bum me out. So I'm glad that is like a line in the
Would it
sand.
bum you out if you saw me in front of the machine?
No, that'd be
more so.
Only because then I would sit down next to you and start playing as well.
Yeah.
It would be a deep dark hole. That
And then we could all get free massages while we're playing. Guys, come on. Crab legs at the buffet.
Oh,
I like learning card games this way. There was that cribbage with grandpas that I played on a mobile phone for a while, and it was like just this vehicle for teaching you how to play cribbage, and you were just playing with a different grandpa all the time, and you could improve. It was fun. I like that idea, and I kind of wish I had Mahjong with grandmas or something like that.
Just come over, Grub.
Yeah, okay, there we go.
Me and my grandma will play with you.
GrandMah-Jong.
Oh.
Yeah, there it is.
Look at you,
I mean,
Mike.
please.
Yeah.
You should be #1 page on the Google results.
Yeah, you earned it with that one.
Bump 'em
That
up,
alone.
folks. Yeah.
Bump them up. Bump them up.
Everyone starts. I don't know how to do that. Search for Minotti and then click the one with me on it.
Join my web ring. Yeah.
Join my goddamn web ring.
And use my oats code. As I try and prepare for the heist of the century in this underground Mahjong den, Jeff Grubb, you have been embarking on a SteamWorld Heist. Too.
Yeah, I started SteamWorld Heist 2, and I did this on stream yesterday, and boy, it's just nailing everything it's going for. You know what it is? This is the developer of SteamWorld Dig 2, one of my favorite loops in any video game ever, where it's like you have a few abilities, you use those abilities to go out into the world, you get resources, take those resources back to your camp. Those resources can then enable you to have more tools that enable you to go further out in the world. There is something similar happening here where it's like you are going to have a certain amount of tools as your characters in this side-scrolling XCOM game is how I've been describing it. It's SteamWorld Heist if anyone's played that. It's mostly the exact same thing here. There's a little bit more going on, but it is very much about like, hey, here's some really great tactics. Here is you should be looking at your enemy's HP, and then you should be planning everything around that. Like, oh, okay, my character can get guaranteed 3 damage on this if I use this ability, and then that one can, if he runs up and he gets a kill, he can then immediately do another shot. So I'm trying to plan to do maximum damage, and all that feels great. And then you get resources, and you go back in your submarine, and you can improve your submarine, which enables you to explore more of the overworld map in real time. And that loop is already just satisfying out of the gate. So it has clicked with me immediately.
The thing is, too, it's like there are a lot of systems and depth to this game. And I hate it when a game, like, you feel like you're just in tutorials for like hours before you're really let loose. This really kind of like parses them out. Like, you're having fun from the very beginning, even if you don't know every system. And the way it teaches every one of them is just very simple and efficient. And like, It's not like a complicated thing, even though there's like multiple, currencies and stuff like, oh, these are gallons and these are these gems and these are these bounties and things like. It does such a great job of explaining it without just feeling like everything grinds to a halt. It is, it's fun from the beginning, and then like once you do kind of like you understand everything and you're just in the loop. Oh man, every element of it, like you said, that loop of like the tactics stuff is fantastic, and it's got that real time stuff too. Of you're actually aiming and trying to ricochet shots and seeing, I'm going to activate this thing so I have less sway and I can see the full line of where my sniper shot's going to go. Every moment of this game has been so satisfying to me, and I think it's going to be a perfect playing game.
Yes, absolutely. I'm. Like I was intimidated at first. I said this elsewhere, that when I was at Summer Game Fest and they were like, "Here's a later save." It's about 30 hours in. I'm like, man, that's so much for a game like this. But I can now easily see myself getting lost in a lot of it. I don't know if I'm gonna, if I'll beat it. There is a point where I imagine I'm like, okay, I get it, and let me do some of these fun levels. That's great. But there's a chance, and either way, I'm enjoying myself quite a bit right now with this game at the beginning.
Yeah, I continue to love what they do with SteamWorld, even if like not every, like I don't love every one of them. I mean, I love Dig, I love Heist, I liked Quest a lot more than I expected to. Didn't love the Build one, but like I love the fact that they take these swings and like the ones that hit, they do sequels to. And I'm glad we got a Heist 2. I'm glad we got a Dig 2. Yeah, they are doing really, really cool stuff over there.
And it's got a job system, and I'm like, yes. I just, every time there's a job system in a game, I'm like, yes, this is, you get it, you understand like what makes me crave to get to that next thing. So I'm going to prove this character, and I'll take these attributes that I really like from this job into the next thing when I switch up weapons and change jobs again. It's awesome.
Is there a genre you want the SteamWorld crew to tackle?
Yeah, it's
RTS?
Anti.
Like the Hades style. Sorry, it took a second to register what he said. Sorry,
Mike.
I was up late last night.
All right.
I was like, oh, he's just no selling that. That's impressive.
Nope, it got me.
I would like a Hades, like Diablo style, like top-down action RPG. I think that'd be fun.
That'd be fun. Yep.
Out of left field here, but I would like no, Mike. I would like the SteamWorld crew to tackle a Muso game.
Oh, sure. Wow.
That'd be incredible.
It's like little robot bits flying all over the place.
Yeah.
I mean, we haven't seen them do anything like polygonal yet. It's all been kind of that hand-drawn. Yeah.
Right? I didn't mind that. Yeah.
I think I want all these developers to eventually make an N64 inspired game, and that sounds like that's what Shovel Knight. What's happening with Shovel Knight with Yacht Club Games, and I hope all these developers do that because I love that. I love anytime an indie studio goes from making 2D games to making a sort of spiritual successor that feels like it would have came out on the next console.
It's kind of like what they did with the Messenger, where in that one game you had the 8-bit and the 16-bit version.
Yep. I love that stuff.
Messenger rules.
Yeah, that's good shit. It's good shit. Jeff Grubb, I also see here that you've been going all guns blazing in Cygni. Yes. All guns blazing.
So this is one that I started playing last night. I'm like, I want to have a few extra things to talk about on the Bombcast. And I saw, actually, me and Dan were listening to the next night's Planorama episode on the way to the airport. And they mentioned it there, and then Dan looked it up, and it's like, oh, that looks like it's, what's the studio?
It looks like a Housemarque game, visually,
game. Yeah. Yes, and there's definitely a lot of inspiration there. What I think the easiest way for me to explain why it has clicked with me is what if all of the sort of thinking about the way shooting works that happened in Doom 2016 was applied to a shoot 'em up. It feels like the Doom 2016 of shoot 'em ups. So you are,
Cygni sounds like an old Mac game I used to play in Computer Lab.
Yeah, the name does have sort of a familiar ring to it, and I'm like, I can't place it exactly, but basically it's a bullet hell shooter, and your little ship, but the way that it deals with health and firing is that you have an energy system where you could put energy into your shields or into your weapons, and you control that with the left and right bumper. If you go left, you're going to have more shields. If you go right, you're going to do more damage with your weapons. I'll say that the sound design on that, when you were putting more energy into your weapons, the sound of the impact of the bullets sounds so much better. So it's satisfying, kind of makes you want to take that risk and the risk reward. But so as you're taking hits, and it's going to be kind of unavoidable to take hits in some circumstances. You're going to try to minimize that, but you are going to want to go from energy cell to energy cell as that these enemies drop as you're fighting them. So it's like, okay, I took a little bit of damage, but if I can go get that energy, I can put more energy back into my shields and survive the next encounter. And once I got that loop, this game just immediately was like, oh my God, this feels so good. So I am really into what they're doing here. I'm still pretty early. The levels are very long, but I'm operating on its wavelength now, and I was like, oh, this feels fantastic. So yeah, I'm going to be playing a lot more Cygni.
You playing on Steam Deck?
Yeah, Steam Deck runs great.
Okay.
Runs really great. The music is excellent. It's got this like operatic score and stuff like that that makes all the action feel very cinematic.
So I was gonna ask because like I looked this up on Steam and like the user reviews are mixed. And one of the things I saw was like the music doesn't fit at all, and I think most people are just complaining about the price. It's $30, and they're saying, oh, it's very pretty, but I don't know if it's worth it.
I think it's going to have a very tough first impression. Because you need to do the tutorial, and even then, I don't think it's going to be very easy to understand exactly that you need to be willing to take shots. And that's not really how bullet hell shooters have worked. You are supposed to try to avoid damage as much as possible in those games. And so I think you need to kind of get over a little hump. And my first impression was like, this is frustrating. I'm going to bounce. And so it took me a minute to get over that. But now that now that I'm with it, I feel like this game is doing some cool, interesting new stuff in this genre in the way that, like, you know, Streets of Rage 4 and stuff did new stuff for beat 'em ups and stuff like that. I'm feeling very similar to this.
Yeah, when's the last time y'all were interested in a shmup? I hate using that word, but
I want to
shoot 'em up.
I want to be more interested more frequently, and this feels like this is the one that's going to get me.
Do you count mini shoot adventures?
That's
Twin stick
that's
shooters.
like-
No, twin stick shooters different.
and
Sure.
that's such a. I mean, listen, that's a good idea, like a good twist in a different direction for this, but yeah, this is still just in that shoot 'em up genre.
Is like a bullet hell different than a shoot 'em up, or it's
No,
like
it's a subgenre of shmup.
subgenre?
now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I had a weird kind of shmup phase. I think last year, just like going through some old retro ones. Like I was playing stuff like R-Type and Gradius that I never really played before, and freaking Thunder Force 4 on the
Thunder Force
Genesis,
4.
or
UN
Musha on
Squadron's good, yeah.
Genesis. I've been keep waiting for them to add UN Squadron to Super Nintendo NSO, and they just won't. The cowards. But yeah, I kind of have been in shmup moods. I've downloaded Radiant Silvergun on my Switch and I haven't played it yet, but
Same.
I really want to. So
Yep.
Well,
I think for shoot, it's probably going all the way back to Ikaruga when it was like, oh, I'm really my frothing demand for this game increases and all that. And then since it's like I've kind of been waiting for that next moment for the genre to evolve, and for me, I feel like it's mostly here with this. So I'm very excited about it.
Yeah, not to invoke the Hades model, but like, man, just add that shit to a roguelike. Perhaps.
I mean, yeah, and there is some Hades here as well, where it does feel like you are. Don't be so afraid of attacks. Maybe sometimes you can use that to your advantage and kind of just running at the action. That's very Doom, but also that's how I felt about Hades after a while too.
I guess Nier Automata may be the last shmup.
Oh,
Well,
sure.
yeah.
I was into
Sure.
parts of it.
it was a little disappointing because like that first level has a lot of shmup-like elements, and that stuff kind of gets de-emphasized pretty quickly as you get further into that game.
Returnal kind of felt like it at times, you know?
Yeah.
Speaking of house, Mark.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, that was like new Robotron. Yeah.
Yeah, God, I love that game.
Well, going from painting the screen with bullets to painting the screen, Dan, you've been playing it.
Yeah, I just started it. Mary basically evoked the name of Power Wash Simulator, which I absolutely loved, and is one of the best, make time melt away games I've ever played.
Yeah.
And it's like the reverse of that. Instead of cleaning things up, you're like going into an area and it's totally just black and white. Kind of reminded me of like the Unfinished Swan, if you remember that. You're just kind of like painting over things, but it's not super specific where it's like you don't have to like, oh, I'm picking green for the tree. You just point at things and hold RT basically and pan over it and things fill in. And you don't have to like pixel hunt and get every last thing to fill it in. It just kind of pops after you get most of it. But then, you're also kind of like putting together like an apartment you're renting. And as you create or as you paint objects, you can use them in paintings that you can then sell to a like cafe and put them on auction. And people will have like requests like, oh, I want this type of painting or whatever. And it's like, okay, well, I've got those items that I painted and I can put that together. So like it's a weird mix of things. It's not just the like power wash thing of like, oh, I'm just trying to paint everything here. It's also this like, I kind of have this like Mario paint, slapping stickers on and painting things the way I want to. It's I'm early on in it, but so far it's been fun. It's got a cool art style, and the painting itself feels very satisfying.
How French is it?
It seems pretty French.
Okay.
Yeah.
That may skew folks.
Yeah, I'd ask Mike Mahardy, but it'd be like a 40-minute thing about wine if I evoke France. So, yeah.
When you think
that.
of Mike Mahardy, do you think of a red wine or a white wine immediately?
Red.
I think of trying to change the topic away from wine as quickly as possible.
Jeff Grubb, you put on the list here Old School Rally.
Yeah, Old School Rally. This is one I was looking forward to. Definitely having a racing game sort of mood right now. Big part of that. Mike's always talking about like Ridge Racer and stuff like that. I'm like, yeah, I like Ridge Racer, but also that always makes me think of a time when I was super into Sega Rally Championship, especially in the arcade. Didn't play it at home too much, but whenever I would go to the arcade, play Sega Rally Championship and Sega Rally Championship 2, I really like the way those games feel. Like they just kind of nailed it right away. And Old School Rally is trying to be exactly that, and to the point where it's even has the appearance and presentation of an older Sega arcade game in terms of the graphical fidelity and like the CRT filter that they put on top. They're trying to look like that, and it is one of those where, okay, a spiritual successor from an indie studio. Is it going to be able to capture that feeling? Because why get that close if you're not going to go all the way? And if you don't get all the way, all those little tiny differences can really add up, and it, it's the uncanny valley at a certain point where like you really feel the differences when it's close but not quite close enough. This one is right on the borderline for me of being close enough, and I think part of that is like I need to pick the right vehicle. I had to pick the third one, which has the best braking and handling, and when I did that, the power slides, which is this sliding in a rally game or in rally racing, I want that to feel really sharp and really snappy, and it does with that car for the most part. It's still to me, it still doesn't feel quite as good as Sega Rally Championship, but it's pretty close, and it looks great and looks right on like what they were going for. They accomplished, but it's another one of those like I think I need to play a little bit longer, and when I do that, the question is, am I going to come back to this game ever, or am I going to just do what I always do and then go back and keep playing Sega Rally Championship on my Steam Deck or something? And that's probably what's going to happen.
I am looking at these screenshots, and it looks exactly like boxy ass cars. Like this is what you want. Yeah, exactly. Is Sega Rally Championship? Is that just something you're emulating, or is that on Steam proper?
That's something I was emulating. I emulated the PS2 version, which I think is the best home release of that, and that runs really well on Steam.
That's 60 frames a second, didn't it? I remember that looking real smooth.
It looks great, because they struggled to get to 60 on the Dreamcast. That's the big knock against that. And so when they got to the PS2, they did a really good job on that conversion, and it's fantastic. It's just the arcade game, so you're gonna like have to get good at those tracks because it's like, hey, we want you to put more money in. It's like, oh, I own this game. Can I just beat this race? It's like, no, you got to figure out every little trick to actually beat all the courses when you're playing that at home. But it's still Sega Rally Championship, and it feels real good.
Grub, personal question for you here,
please.
I consider you a big driving man. You like being behind the wheel.
Yep.
When it comes to playing an arcade racing game, and you get the wheel in front of you, are you still picking auto or are you going manual for transmission?
It depends. When I really get into a game, I'll go manual. When I'm first starting out, I usually just stick with auto. Now, if it's a driving game and not a racing game, like so the Snow Runners of the world, I'll do that in manual.
Okay.
Like there is like times where it's like, it just makes more sense to keep this in auto, but having the option to like actually get out my stick shift, which I have and use that, I want to take advantage of that. And when it's not like, this is about power and about like dragging stuff up a hill, I want to be able to control the gears a little bit because lower gear, more power, more torque, things like that. So I want to be able to have full control over that, and it's fun to like get in that. In a racing game, it's more like, okay, am I in the right gear for this turn? I don't know. I've never really driven on this track before. It's a little bit more complicated, and so it takes a little bit more time.
Speaking of Ridge Racer, Jeff, I know you've been doing that real deep dive investigation about the future of that franchise. I haven't asked you about it in a while. I wanted to let you cook, but this maybe is an appropriate time to see if you have anything that you are willing to share with us at this moment.
I've just lost a tail the other night. I'm pretty sure it was sent by Bandai Namco, so I'm just trying to lay low. I'm just a little bit worried right now, Mike, so I'm afraid to say anything publicly, but I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can.
We'll try to stay safe, but also maybe put your life on the line a little bit so we can learn about Ridge Racer.
I will.
How many cat shines are in it?
That's what that series needs.
Speaking about going old school, Mike Minotti, you've been playing a couple older games, starting with Dark Souls.
I beat Dark Souls.
Yay!
I finished that one up over the weekend, which so that was my first time playing that game, playing through that game. Everyone still talks about it very fondly, even with all these sequels and spiritual successors. I really enjoyed Erdtree, and I still kind of had an appetite to play one of these games. So going back to it with that, that remastered edition, right? So some things are smoothed out. The game runs really well. Playing it on Steam, it was great, right? Yeah, everybody's right. That is still just a fantastic game. Really satisfying map. Right? It's obviously not that open world style like an Elden Ring.
Yeah, it's the connected world type, right?
It's the connected world where it kind of loops around itself, right? Like a Metroidvania. Now, unlike a Metroidvania, you don't have like super fun, amazing movement that makes some of the backtracking stuff more interesting. What makes it interesting is that you are still kind of clawing your way through things. And then when you go back to an old area, you're just so much stronger than you were that first time, right? That it's fun to just kind of like, romp or stomp your way through these enemies that used to give you trouble.
I tuned into one of your streams when you were playing Dark Souls, Mike, and your character, you were not underselling it. Your character was big.
Yep,
beefy
boy.
That's how I like to play these games. It seemed like in Dark Souls 1, that just happens to be
it's a really
pretty strong way to do it. So yeah, I just was wearing Havel's armor, it was called, and I went back and forth between this great sword that I actually got as a pretty early drop from some enemy, and I use it a lot. I also got this giant dragon's tooth that was like a giant like club hammer, so I used that a lot as well. And then like a big heavy shield. So I'm not much of a rolly boy in these games. I'm more of a shield guy, and that usually works for me. Yeah, like that worked pretty well. I never had, there are some difficult bosses. There's maybe a few that took me several tries, but generally I got most bosses like within the first few tries.
We talked about this. Like, you have such an advantage coming from Shadow of the Erdtree.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. It was a little bit kind of like, I was playing with weights on before.
Yep.
I took them off. Like, because these are earlier Souls games. It is kind of funny. Like, people thought that this was the hardest thing in the world at a point, and now you get to these Erdtree bosses, and it's a very different level. But like even the final boss, it was fun, but it was almost anticlimactic. Like, his big scary thing was that he had a 4-hit combo string at some point. Right? He was still like just one phase, and I was like, this isn't too bad. The DLC bosses were definitely the ones that came the closest to feeling a bit more kind of what I'm used to in Elden Ring. I've heard some people say they feel like Dark Souls 3 bosses, right? You can kind of see them maybe getting a little trickier with that stuff. And anytime where you have to fight more than one thing, that is still always difficult. Like, the boss I struggled the most with was pretty early on when I had to fight these 2 gargoyles on top of some roof somewhere, just because it was 2 of them. It was relatively early in the game, so I didn't have an amazing kit. Later, the famous boss fight, I think, is Ornstein and Smog, which is a similar thing. There's 2 of them. So that, that took maybe 5 tries, but it was difficult, and I was really focused. Like, even if bosses didn't necessarily take a ton of tries, like there was this dragon in the kind of expansion area, right? It still was like, oh, I'm like really focused. I really do have to kind of zone in there. And that's what feels good, is like having to really zone in and be careful and play smart to be able to succeed.
I tuned in for those streams. You were definitely locked in.
Yep.
Oh, that's locked in, baby. What I don't like, and it's something that they did fix in later games, is the obnoxious walkbacks you have to do when you die to a boss, right? We don't have Stakes of America. The bonfires aren't as generous. So it's like, okay, now you have to walk all the way back to where that boss was, and there's enemies on the way. Like, you're going to fight them, you're going to try to run past them and hope they don't hit you. So, and again, like, even if you just die a couple times, it's just annoying to backtrack. Usually I'm a defender of backtracking, excuse me, in Metroidvanias, because it's like, well, we have fun movement, and maybe you missed some hidden things here. But this really is just backtracking for the sake of backtracking, just doing a familiar route over and over. There's no tension, because it's at that point, I'm like, look, if I lose those souls, whatever. I don't even care anymore. Sure. I would pay those souls just to teleport to the boss at this point.
What's the plan next for From?
Yeah, so, I'm playing through something else right now. I do think I kind of just want to check out the other Dark Souls games. Like, I was almost hesitant to do Dark Souls 2, because I know it's kind of the, like, one people are split on. Some people are like, oh, that one's not as good, and Miyazaki wasn't involved or whatever. But then I had enough people defend it where I am just curious. And it's also may as well play them all, I guess.
Yep,
so
exactly.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm excited about that. That's great.
I've been having the itch to go back to Bloodborne, and it's not just because Dan's best friend Kai Cenat is digging back into it, but like getting the urge again to go back to good old Yarnum.
You see what Andy at Kind of Funny did and spend like $1,600 on some modded PlayStation 4 that plays it at 60 FPS or something?
Yeah,
see that?
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna bust out the PS4 and do it. It's okay.
Yeah, and
I've
playing at 30
considered
FPS, you scrub.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I'm okay.
not.
Cinema.
Just turn on frame smoothing, motion smoothing on your TV. It'll be fine.
God.
Oh yeah,
You can play it on a PS5, right?
Yes, it's
Okay.
backwards.
Oh well, there you go. I don't have to dig out the PS4 then.
Yeah, I kind of want to as well. I feel like when I played that was the first From game I beat, and like now, thanks to Elden Ring and stuff, I would probably go back to it with
We're all
better.
stronger now.
Yeah,
Yep,
I think
absolutely.
so.
But beating Armored Core 6, then Shadow of the Archery, it's like, okay, I can pretty much handle anything they do now.
What was your build, Dan, when you played Bloodborne?
Oh, I don't.
If you
fucking
remember. Okay.
No, not at all.
I remember Bloodborne, like your build options aren't quite as robust. Like there's different weapons.
Sure.
But I don't remember like what the shield situation was like. I think you had to be
Was
kind
there
of
a
a roly
shield?
boy. I don't think so. I think you have to be a roly boy.
There's that weird like parry gun
With a
thing,
gun, yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Everybody
yeah.
did gun parries, and then you just kind of attacked them with some. I think I just used whatever sword they gave me at
I used the
first.
cane for a long time, and it was
Same.
fun. But then
Yeah.
I think I also
No
maybe
shits.
stuck with it too long, and that's what made me fall off. Because I'm like, I feel like I don't know, falling behind.
Maybe
the
that's why I
curve.
didn't like Bloodborne as much as other people, because I didn't get to have a shield. I just really like having a shield in these games. That's why I'm kind of worried about Sekiro also, because
Sekiro, you're gonna have to parry. Yep.
right, like and,
Yeah.
I
Man.
I'm sure I'll do fine, but like
Yeah, you'll
you
get
know,
it.
the parry mechanic is in Dark Souls, right? And I like messed around with it in the beginning a little bit, and I was like, well, not gonna do that. I'm just
So-
going to block him and then hit him.
This is like not a novel thing. Lots of From fans have gone through this exact arc that you're in, Mike, where they're like,
Yeah.
I love Dark Souls, but I did play with a sword and shield, and I don't want to engage with the parry system. You're not necessarily saying that, but I've heard a lot of people like, no,
Sure.
I don't want to learn to parry, and then they go play Sekiro. They get over that hump, and then they end up loving it. So you're gonna jump in there. You'll figure it out. It'll be
Maybe
just
I
fine.
should force myself to do like a dex build in Dark Souls 2 or something. Not magic. I'm not a loser, but maybe a dex build.
You're a real man. You don't mess
Yeah.
with magic.
That's right.
You it looks like you've continued down the old school train, and it pains me inside to say this game is considered old school now. But Mike,
yeah.
you've also checked out Beyond Good and Evil.
Yeah, so Jeff and I have a game club over on the Game Mess Discord. This is our pick because that 20th anniversary edition came out not too long ago, so it got remastered. It's like I've started this game a couple times and always liked it, and then fall off for one reason or another. So I went back to this. I don't know what it is because again I played this game before. I am so impressed with one, this remaster, like how good of a
good.
job it is, but just two, how good this game is and still feels, how smart it is. It is so good at just getting going and like establishing an interesting world and characters
remember
without
that.
being boring. Right, like it's like, whoa, who is this? Like this woman and this pig person. Why are they friends? And what do they do? And it's like, don't worry about it. You'll find out. Right? And like, you know, they're just like they have a rapport and they like each other, and it's immediately like, you know, endearing. It's the Back to the Future thing, right? It's literally
Yeah.
that. Like,
Oh
why
my
are
god!
these-
I literally was having this conversation. We were watching that this past weekend, and me and Steph were talking about like, don't explain it because the answer is probably going to be unsatisfactory. Like, but we just get that they're friends, the old man and the kid. It's fine.
Right. It's great.
Yeah.
Like immediately, like the first 10 seconds, like aliens like land in pods in the orphanage or something you run. You're like, you start fighting them immediately. It's like, yeah, I get it. We're at war. We're being invaded. Great.
Yep.
Yeah.
It just goes. But even like, the game feels so smooth because it's a Zelda-like, but it's kind of more of an automatic Z targeting thing where you don't push a button, but Jay will kind of orient herself to like whoever's near, whoever you're sort of attacking. And there's the way it automatically like has different animations. You decide to attack somebody that's behind you. Again, it just looks really smooth. The world is very pretty and interesting. It's kind of futuristic, kind of Italian or something. Like it's very watery. I like that.
Wait, what?
About it a lot. Yeah. You know,
Put it
you
on
get
the
a-
box.
yeah, it just is it's real ambitious for a game from that era in a way that still seems very impressive. The writing's good. Oh, and like very early on you get this camera mechanic. So like the game's kind of also Pokemon Snap, where it's like take a picture of every living creature, and you get like progression items from that. And I love that shit. It's like every time I see some new weirdo, I'm like, I gotta take a picture real quick. Even boss fights, real quick, take the picture. It like works into your character where you're kind of this freelance journalist. Man, again, it's like I know I played this game before, and I know I liked it, and didn't finish for some reason. But playing this now, I'm like, this game does rule, and the remaster is great. It just, it's like what you kind of remember that game looking like. It's just running really well. It had a great art style anyway, so it still looks good, but it's just, up-res, super smooth. Boy, just kind of having a shockingly good time with this.
Crap, you're making me want to replay this, because the only time I played it was when they first re-released it on XBLA in 2009, 2010. I was like, you know what? I always heard people saying good things about it 8 years ago or whatever when it came out, and I tried it, and it held up really well then, that first re-release, which I think was just kind of like an HD, upgrade or whatever. This sounds like more, more involved, and now I think I want to play it again.
Right. I'm so curious, actually, to because again, it's been a while since I played that original. I think I did play that Xbox Live Arcade version too. I'm like, just how much of this is the original, how much of this is the remaster? Because this, again, it feels so good to play right now, and I'm pretty sure it felt good to play back then too. But gosh, just kudos to that team. Just playing, I'm like, man, maybe this is all I really need from Prince of Persia, Ubisoft. Maybe I don't need a full-on remake, because this right here is about as good a remaster job of a sort of GameCube, PS2 era game.
I don't need a remake of Sands of Time. Yeah,
I kind of got mad thinking about Rockstar's GTA 3 trilogy remasters. It's like, man, you guys are fucking Rockstar, and that shit was pathetic. And here's like the Ubisoft Beyond Good and Evil remaster, and it's gorgeous. Like, what the hell?
Yeah, I mean, even that Star Wars Bounty Hunter game where I was playing, I nailed that remaster recently. Where
that looks good.
This looks really good. I think that game always had a pretty decent art style, but I went back and looked at some of the old gameplay now, and it looks pretty old compared to what they did with this remaster. So you can do a good job with this stuff, and most of those games, especially from that era and on, play just fine.
I don't know why you waxing poetically about Beyond Good and Evil, Mike, makes me want to play Dark Cloud 2.
Well,
that's on PS5. Cameras?
On PS5.
Cameras, PS5. Okay.
There's a bunch of level 5 like that. Rogue Galaxy, I wish would get like big boy remasters. Like if Dark Cloud 2 got a remaster like this, holy shit, that would be awesome.
God,
and they should. They just should do that at some point.
And then they should make Dark Cloud 3.
They should do it. The other thing it kind of made me think is, Beyond Good and Evil 2, right? Like, apparently
it doesn't need to be. It should just be a sequel to this, right?
It should just be this.
Yep.
It doesn't need to be some weird made-up spaceship like Spore thing or whatever they were doing. I don't know. Just make another one of these set afterwards, like not a prequel again, because the prequel thing is stupid. Because I do just love how this game just throws me in there, and I, through context, pick up everything I need to know about these characters in this world. And I learn more as I play. But that's fun. I don't need to go see the Origin of Jade, where maybe she was brainwashed into being evil and dumb.
That original team has got to be scattered to the winds at this point, right?
Yeah, mostly probably.
I have no idea what they're doing.
Whose game was this? Was this Jordan Mechner? Okay, yes, Michelle Ansel. Okay.
Yeah, this is the Rayman guy, right? But then that actual team is the team that did Prince of Persia. So that Beyond Good and Evil team has been something else for a while now, and I'm sure that they've had a ton of turnover. And Ansel himself is not there anymore. He left, and apparently is a bit of a problem.
Kind of toxic.
Yeah.
Allegedly toxic.
Allegedly, toxic. So don't know what's going on with that, but you don't need to try to make the biggest video game ever and have it be, as much as I'm liking this game. And that's the other thing I'm thinking about. It's baffling this game wasn't a hit at the time because it didn't sell very well. I assume because of bad marketing, and I assume because it was a time where everybody did want mature, M-rated, grungy games, right? So it's just kind of weird to be like, well, we're finally going to make the sequel to Beyond Good and Evil 2, but the only way we're going to justify it is by trying to make it the most ambitious, weird thing ever.
Wasn't that the one they were trying to crowdsource the art, where it's
just Gordon-Levitt was.
Yeah.
Right.
Hitrecord.tv.
Hit record was his thing, yeah.
Oh, wow. Is that already down?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I don't think that's been a thing for a while.
Maybe Kaepernick's going to get involved with that with his weird AI comic book company.
Sure. I tried taking a picture with Colin Kaepernick at the Fandom Comic-Con party, and then he was like, scan my shirt for the QR code. And I'm like, no, I'm okay, Colin.
No, I don't want to scan you, Kaepernick.
Is Beyond Good and Evil the best game inspired by Ocarina of Time that's not a Zelda game?
Yeah, I was trying to think about, because I don't know. I've been having a bit of an old man moment, getting upset about people not being like, I don't. Mostly from listening to Fire Escape, because you've been getting a couple emails like, oh, I played Ocarina, it doesn't hold up. Like, what does hold up mean? Saying something doesn't hold up means that you think games are inherently better now than they used to be. And I'm not trying to be like games were better back in the day. I think that they're good in both ways. So, don't just say something doesn't hold up. Tell me why. But, because some things were better back then. Companies could make Zelda-likes. Nobody really makes games that are like the old 3D Zelda games. We have some indie things. We had, what was that game that was an indie game that PlayStation published? Something with a K.
Oh, we were just talking about this.
Kenna Bridge of Spirits.
Yeah, it's coming out to Xbox this week.
And that was nice. That was cool. Wasn't as good as Beyond Good and Evil, right?
Darksiders
is the other one, right? But even then, that doesn't, we don't really have those anymore.
Mainly.
And then Darksiders 3, I don't know, people cared that much.
Didn't know there was a third one.
Yeah. So Okami is one that people talk about a lot, and that's one that should also get a remaster like this. That would be fantastic.
Oh my god, I'd die.
But I think I like this. I think this is my favorite of all of the Zelda likes out there.
I would put Okami up there on my personal list.
Okami, I have a similar thing what Jeff was talking about with SteamWorld Heist too, where I always like Okami, and people are like, yeah, this game is 3 times longer than you think it's going to be.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
It takes a long time to get moving too. There's a lot of story
stuff.
Right,
so it's an anti-Beyond Good and Evil there, right? Because it was definitely the PS2 era where we were getting that problem of games having these kind of obnoxiously long starts. So
by the way, speaking of that, I'm watching my sister Kayla play through Metal Gear Solid, the series for the first time, and she's doing the first one, and I've watched all of her VODs from the first one, and man, I forgot how talky that series is. It is seriously you walk into
from the beginning.
I mean, I always knew it was talky, but she's listening to all the codecs and everything. Man, you walk into that room for the Ocelot fight and the Arms Tech president, and then the stuff after Grey Fox with Otacon, and it's slow fade. Okay, do we get to play? Nope. Fade back into Manhattan Project B-roll, archival footage. And it's my dad was part of, it's oh my god. And I'm watching her stream, and a lot of people in the chat are like, I can't believe Dan likes this. And Kayla's like, yeah, this is really, really talky. It's yeah, it is. It was cool.
It was novel at a time, and it's done very well, I guess, right? And then once you're invested in the game, in the series, you're just invested. So all that talky stuff is exciting because, maybe this is where I'm going to learn more about Les Enfants Terribles or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, part of me is I think I just liked it more because it was so many in-game cutscenes and they looked so cool. It's such a strong style that I was like, this is novel.
That's what blew me away with Metal Gear Solid 2, where it's you could zoom in and move the camera around during the cutscenes and stuff. Where it's holy shit, I'm so used to just fade to super pre-rendered thing that if I hit anything on this controller, it's skipping the cutscene. And not to go on a Metal Gear tangent, but it's very talky.
You're allowed.
I keep thinking about replaying that and getting into the rest of the series.
Not to spoil the emails segment later, but someone suggested a Connectivity Compadres reboot where the 4 of us check out Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker co-op.
I guess I never really thought about the cooperative in that. How does that work?
That's what I have not played Peace Walker. I think I started it and then fell off because I hate the PSP. But my understanding is it was just for boss fights. And I think it was doing individual mission things the way that I got used to with Phantom Pain, but I think at the time I was like, what the fuck? It's these it was more like Monster Hunter than I think I was prepared for when I started it, Yeah, but I don't know if they're all co-op or whatever, so.
I think everything could be co-op. I forget, but yeah, because it's just you select the mission. If you're going to do it with friends, you kind of group up with them before that. Yeah.
I would definitely try it. I mean, hell, it's Greg Miller's #1 video game of all time.
Let's give it a shot. Yeah.
Look, I like Peace Walker. That's loud.
Greg Miller's saying something out of pocket. Weird.
I think we talked about 7 games today that I like more than Peace Walker.
I played an hour of it or so, and I was like, what is this whole layout? I had not played Monster Hunter at that point, and I was just like, PSP game. It's got this weird thing. I'll watch the cutscenes on YouTube, and so I've seen those a couple times. I know the story, but I've never really played it.
Grub, you still got a bunch of fake SIGs I
do. They're over there somewhere.
I would not mind strapping in with y'all for
All right.
some Metal Gear.
Yeah.
I will look into the best way to get this going.
Okay.
I would like that.
Last game on the list. Speaking about remasters, this is a game near and dear to my heart, so please be nice to it. Tomba! Grub, Dan, it looks like you two have also been playing this.
Yeah.
I'm glad you said it properly because there is an exclamation point in the title. I think I like pretty much any game that has an exclamation point in the title.
Yeah.
Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, Tomba,
Yep. Mike Tyson said 2. That's why I love it so much. Yeah.
Yeah, for both fists when he knocks your lights out.
I'm enjoying Tomba. I never really played it. It is one of those games where it's like, oh, there's a lot going on here. They like had the 3D rendered backgrounds of the 2D character, and because of that, the character can, you can hold up and then jump into the background, and that's interesting. Oh yeah, sure, kiddo.
It's got the event system. The event system. That was the big thing. It's like it was ambitious for what is kind of a platformer, but also there's like adventure game elements and almost like almost Metroidvania type stuff where you had like a quest log basically for what looked like a platformer, and it was very much in that like 2.5D pandemonium heyday of like, okay, we've got more powerful systems, but we still want to make some side-scrolling games. So it's like it's a weird one, and there are quality of life things here where it's like you can save anywhere now, you can rewind. It's got all the like museum stuff and concept art that you would expect from like limited run and a museum type game. It's a cool one to go back to and see what they were swinging for ahead of its time.
Yeah, I feel like moving the character around, I'm like, I don't love this, and I definitely am someone who like prefers the game feel great when I play it, but that doesn't automatically make it like, oh, this is a game I'm not interested in and won't play. So I'm sticking with it, and once I started like getting the hang of the event system and realized, there's like stuff to go interact with in the world. I like the one where you try to like go meet the guy on the other side of the water, and you jump in the water, and it goes, I can't swim, and it pops up with all those big letters, and that becomes a new event. You're like, learn to swim. Like, okay, I don't know what that means, but I'm keeping an eye out to see exactly how I can engage in that event. And it's cool to like just get the hang of moving around the world and using the items you get to make that easier to return to the old man's house and stuff like that, and treat that as a home base. But yeah, I think this game always had a strong style, and I'm glad that is held up, like sort of without any effort. It just looks great still, I think. I really enjoy just looking at the game.
Yeah, I'm happy to be able to play this in such an easy way. This game, more specifically Tomba 2, is near and dear to my heart. When Danny O'Dwyer was doing the, not Uncut Gems.
I'd watch Danny O'Dwyer's Uncut Gems.
I bet you he does a pretty good Adam Sandler.
He's betting on rugby or whatever they play.
Guilty Treasures. Guilty Treasures. Apologies for forgetting. My episode was about Tomba 2. And Tomba 2 takes all the systems from the original Tomba and just injects it with more and more things and kind of plays with that 2.5D style more. But yeah, it's great. I checked this out and I was kind of scared that like, am I just looking to the past with rose-colored glasses? But no, the rose-colored is just Tomba's hair and how weird this game is. Speaking about like Beyond Good and Evil, where it kind of just drops you in to stuff and just definitely. Like, you're just
figure it out.
You're just
a
this
little
wild
bit of
kid.
anime, and then it drops you in.
Yeah, like your friend is a monkey. Is he your friend? And then you hate pigs.
What's up with these pigs? Yeah.
You can just like press up an X to read a sign, and that's it.
I specifically remember in Tomba 2, because I think both of these games were kind of my first foray into the Metroidvania style game of like backtracking and everything. And I'm like, oh crap, I don't know how to get here. Oh, now I have the thing to go back over there.
Yep, sure.
And it's just being wowed in Tomba 2 because you befriend Santa.
It's a weird game.
It's a very weird game.
Yeah.
And I think I saw in chat saying that Swery was involved in Tomba 2, and that makes a lot of sense.
That sounds right.
Yeah. But yeah, very, very happy that folks can check out Tomba and just
I
the
want to
weird
check it out.
weirdness of this.
Ran well on the Steam Deck for the most part. There was some hitching when I would load between sequences where it would just fade to black for an extended period of time. But they said that they're aware of all there was also some audio glitches.
I'm playing on Switch, and it also like when you go to your status or your menu and stuff like that, there is like a weird like, why is it black screen for this long? So I think it's across platforms.
Okay.
Yep. They talked about like, oh, we know there's bugs, we know that there's some experience issues, and we're working to update the game.
I still, despite having the series be near and dear to my heart, I still don't know what the fuck is going on. Like, what is this kid's deal?
Yeah,
and it's great.
Sure.
I love it. I love it. I'm all about it. And I'm all about taking a break. We'll be back with some news right after this. Breaking news, Mike Minotti is raw dogging a tortilla. Reporting live on the scene, Mike Minotti.
Look, you guys insist on doing this at lunchtime. I'm doing my best.
Look, I'm hungry too, but Mike, the bigger question is, you couldn't put some cheese on there?
Peanut butter?
I want you to know I 1,000,000% have your back on this. It is calories, it's food, it's energy, it's carbs. It's going to get you through this podcast. You can eat it quickly.
Tortillas.
I have your back.
Do
Tortillas
you
are
eat
great.
just like a plain piece of bread?
Sometimes I do.
Yeah.
Really?
You don't?
Yeah.
No, at least put peanut butter on
sometimes
it.
I'll even treat myself and I'll like squish it a little bit and kind of give it a different texture to feel like I'm having a little treat.
Wow, I'm
you
not
ever
used
roll
to being
it
the
up?
not weird food guy on a podcast. Jeez.
It's all just food. It's all going to be the same thing in the end.
Yeah, it's going to give you calories, but
Yeah.
like put some cheese on it and microwave it at least.
I got that lactose intolerance, so I'm gonna pass.
I just need to get this out of my head. Bread nachos. All right, Chef Grub, the news.
Did you toast them?
Is that fun, dude?
Wait, we're talking about something serious, so I need to stop. I need to hurry up and finish comically eating this tortilla.
What if there's some tragic news or something and he's just eating a tortilla like
Game
a hamster?
Informer magazine to close after 33 years.
Yeah, fuck you, Mike. Show some respect
Wow,
to Game
God
Informer.
damn it, Mike.
Jesus Christ. It's an institution.
You're embarrassing us. 33 years, it's done. And it was unceremonious. Doesn't even begin to describe it. GameStop pulled the plug without giving anybody any warning. In fact, so little warning that the next issue of the magazine was well into planning. Dragon Age, EA was like, hey, tune in to the next episode or the next issue of Game Informer because we're going to reveal a ton of new stuff about Dragon Age, the Veilborn. What the fuck is that?
Veilguard.
The Veilguard. And now that issue is not going to come out. That cover's not going to happen. It's a real big bummer. And everyone there has lost their job, and it sucks. GameStop is just a joke.
Pulled the plug, pulled everyone into a meeting, no advance warning, fired everyone, changed the locks, deleted the Twitter account after posting an AI-generated shitty goodbye message that nobody that ever worked at Game Informer would ever. The final level. Like, no, that's not.
It's
No,
so bad.
I mean, everyone knew it was going to be shitty because it was GameStop, and GameStop then now forever has been a piece of shit company. I worked for them for 8 years at the store level at Game Informer. They've always been shitty. It was always going to be cold. It was always going to be impersonal. But just the swiftness of it, the fact that they took down the website and everything that was on there, like so many years. Like I know it's known mainly for magazine, but like, you know, they were doing web stuff, you know, from like the mid 2000s, but starting in like 2009 when me and 4 others got hired specifically because they wanted to start pushing into the internet more. And there was so much on there, from podcasts to obviously the YouTube's still up, you know, there's still videos and old replay episodes and stuff, but the amount of articles and online only stuff that just got completely nuked for what? I don't know if they're saving a bit on server costs or what the thought process, if there was any, but they just seemed ready to just jettison everything, get rid of everyone. It's even more cold and impersonal than I think I would have expected from that company. And you know, they were definitely a smaller team, and they never were like back in the office post pandemic, but they were still putting out a lot of good stuff. They were still getting, you know, these great stories and a lot of great talent there.
Open to subscriptions, whether you have like a GameStop membership or not. So I just subscribed, and I've received like 3 issues so far. Apparently, some people are saying that Dragon Age issue is starting to show up for some people, so that's some good news there. But yeah, it's devastating. It was expected in a lot of ways. The guys on that team made it outlive. I think what some expectations were, and not even like the most grim expectations. In a lot of ways, it's like, man, how are they still pulling this off? And they were until GameStop. Someone just looked up. It's like, I don't know. This is one thing. We've cut everything else. Let's just cut this. And when they cut, it just seems like they went into a mode of, like you said, jettison it into space, which is such a bummer.
Yeah, and I mean, look, it's been around forever, and you just look at the alumni from there. I think of everyone that I worked with there, and how, you know, you've got people that went to Xbox, you have people that went to Sony, you have people that went to Gearbox, you had plenty of people doing stuff behind the scenes at studios and consultancies, and I mean, it was a real who's who. Like, if you worked at Game Informer and you went through, you know, those halls, I feel like most people wound up in the industry doing things of import.
Yes.
After that, and I think that will happen eventually with everyone that has been laid off now. Obviously, the job market is fucked right now in games, so it's going to be hard. You know, obviously, you know, please look at anyone's Twitter that just got laid off. Look at Alex Van Aken, look at Brian Shea. You know, look at all them and
Marcus.
Everyone's retweeting everyone. Yep. Look at my Twitter feed. I've been trying to retweet everyone. Margaret, all the people at Lele that were in production and the layout people that have been there forever. It was a hell of a staff at all points, and I'm sure, or I hope, that everyone lands on their feet. It's going to be tough, but it's, you know, I can't help but think on a personal level, like I wouldn't know any of you. I never would have been at Giant Bomb. I wouldn't live where I live. I wouldn't have met my wife. I wouldn't have Game Informer to me is more than any, like, I know as much as I joke about like, oh, Dan loves brands or whatever, Taco Bell or Walmart or whatever. Game Informer as a company, as a brand, as a magazine, like that has had more of an impact on the entire run of my life since I was 9 years old than anything in my entire life. It is the reason I live the life that I have. I have that place to thank everyone I worked with. Best man at my wedding was Tim Turry. It's Hanson, one of the big reasons I moved back to Minneapolis is I have so many fond memories of everyone I met here through Game Informer and Hanson and everyone. And speaking of Hanson, he's doing God's work over there at MinMax.
Great work.
Follow their stuff. He just put up a thing. It was awesome. We didn't expect it to be posted this soon, but back in March, we all kind of knew shit was going to go south sooner or later. It was sooner than we expected. But yeah, it was Hanson, Leo Vader, me, and Alex Van Aken went to kind of like the holding area where it was an office that no one really worked in ever. It was like basically rented out during the pandemic, and all the stuff was kind of moved in there. All the vault, all the games from all those years of game history and statues and everything. And Hanson shot a thing for MinMax of us all going through it, and it was supposed to be kind of like a time capsule thing where it's like, oh, maybe 5 years from now, if none of this is a thing, or if GameStop goes down or whatever, we'll post it. And then like all this shit happened, and Hanson's doing like a whole celebration. I don't know if he said it's going to be a month or what, but the first one was that video got posted. He got that edited very, very quickly. Yeah. So check it out on MinMax's YouTube. I think they're probably doing a ton of podcasts and videos and stuff. Hanson's already talked to me about doing some of that, and I want to do as much of that as I can. But it deserves it. Game Informer, it's absolutely an institution. It was the last U.S.-based magazine that was still kicking around, and its impact from 1991 on cannot be overstated. It is the reason a lot of us in the industry do what we do. And in all those years of being under GameStop and still managing to still be completely independent, like McNamara served as a buffer between us and Grapevine, Texas. So none of us on the floor ever had to deal with those idiots. I can't imagine the amount of phone calls and bullshit Andy had to deal with GameStop. But he protected us from it. We never had to, bow to their whims of like, oh, we want to push this thing harder, or we don't want you to give this game a low score. We never heard any of that stuff. Nothing ever got muddled with at all. I know in recent years, GameStop, as they struggled more and more due to their own incompetence, they were getting involved more often. They started doing those rounds of layoffs, and then, revolving doors of CEOs and idiots and stuff trying to make changes to, and trying to push, of course, GameStop was trying to do like stupid NFT shit and whatever buzzword things just to flail and stay alive. But, most of its run, it stayed completely independent. And, I don't know what else to say. It's, I got the text while I was sitting next to Grub on Friday, and it was just like, oh, fuck. Like, you knew it was coming. You knew it was coming at some point, but you can't really be prepared until you see the finality of it. And it's just like, well, shit. That's it. That is as much of an end of an era as it could be for the industry and me personally, and it'll be missed.
Absolutely. And it's, I think you mentioned it, where it's so many great people got hired there. The reason they got hired is because all those individuals are very good, and that's why I'm like, sure, they're all going to go on to be very important to this industry or whatever, wherever they end up going forward. So I'm not worried for them. They were there at Game Informer for a reason. They'll find other reasons to be at other places going forward. So just shout outs to everybody that made that place special. All right, let's keep going here with the news. Sony's God of War Studios working on a new IP, according to one of the developers. Santa Monica Studio, the developer behind God of War, is working on a new intellectual property. Glauco Longhi, character supervisor at Santa Monica Studio, claimed this in his LinkedIn profile. Longhi previously worked on Uncharted 4, God of War Ragnarok, and the Callisto Protocol. Santa Monica Studio has a history of publishing games from indie studios and was rumored to be working on a sci-fi IP before its cancellation way back in 2014. The thing with all the PlayStation studios is they're so busy all the time with so many big games that like they could do sequels to. That's always surprising when they do find time to do new IP, but also at a certain point they have to like refresh the crop and have something new. And I guess I'm not too surprised to hear this, but what do you guys think?
Yeah, it's these days, right? Just making the next God of War is like a 7-year thing, right? So it used to be like, oh, we'll do something in between so we could take time so there could be some room to breathe. Now these games inherently just breathe, even if it's the thing you work on right away. And yet still, it probably does make sense to, for one thing, let the team do something else. I can't imagine that it's super exciting to be working on your, third or fourth, whatever God of War game in a row at this point.
At that point, that's like 20 years of a person's life working on that. Yeah.
Right. And I liked Ragnarok a lot. And, but even just aside from the fact that it's obviously probably going to be set somewhere else and, it's not going to do a Viking thing again or whatever. Like let's take a moment there to relax and let's try something else here, because those things pay off a lot, right? Like Sucker Punch doing Ghost of Tsushima, establishing a new franchise there. Yeah, it works out. Now the problem is, well, if this thing hits, right? Then it's like, okay, so do you make the sequel to that right away? Because what are you going to wait 14 years now to make the next one of those? Because you have to do the next God of War.
And like Sony's appetite for like bringing out their studios to work on this stuff is always in question. I remember like the visual arts group was like, maybe we could do some Uncharted stuff, and then Naughty Dog's like, no, we're going to handle that, and kind of took it away from them, which was their right. It's a Naughty Dog game, but then like the people that were going to make stuff like that happen at Visual Arts Group left, and they started a studio with some other publishers. So and I kind of don't necessarily blame Sony, like spinning up yet another major massive studio to make more of these massive games. It's like, how many times can you replicate that before you just become really unwieldy and hard to manage?
They're kind of at that point now.
Yeah, exactly. So why increase it? Yeah, I don't blame them. But what that means is then what Mike's getting at, longer periods of time before these established franchises, and them taking longer breaks and more time to breathe than they necessarily might need.
And then you hope that the new IP isn't a Starfield and put off the thing that people actually want,
Yeah, for real.
Gosh, and now you're making me like nostalgic. It is wild that like it used to be like, hey, Grand Theft Auto 3 was a hit. Let's make 2 more of those for this same console generation.
Yeah.
And now, talking about Naughty Dog, like it's looking like there just might not be an original Naughty Dog game for the entire PlayStation 5 life cycle. Like that's a distinct possibility now.
We're getting pretty close to that feeling.
Yeah. See, if you're a Metal Gear fan, you'd be used to that, because those fuckers took 4 years between every one of them usually.
Right. No, exactly. Yeah, that guy is really setting a precedent there. But even then, it was like, I want a console generation. I think I saw yesterday that Phantom Pain came out in 2015. I'm like, that game's going to be 10 years old.
Yeah, that's crazy.
No. Oh, no. That's the big, I think that's, there's a lot of problems in this industry right now. One of the biggest ones is just how long it takes to make games. And I don't really see a lot of people really caring to find solutions to that, except saying buzzwords like AI. Everyone just kind of accepts it, like, yeah, games take longer, it costs more to make than ever. And I'm like, well, are we gonna do something about that? And it's like, yeah, we're gonna keep spending money we don't have, and then having to lay people off. I don't know.
Do you think there's any motivation or oversight from Sony proper while PlayStation's embarking on this to like, hey, make something that we could maybe adapt to another TV show?
They definitely talk about that stuff. I don't know if it's oversight so much as, no, let's have our company retreat. Let's talk about our overall goals. Let's try to align on those goals, that sort of conversation. Sony definitely has they take like, no, we have an interest in the things you're working on, and we want to be able to affect that. I think that's how we get stuff like the PSVR 2, where it's like, we have a hardware team, let's put them to work. And it's how we get some of these other things that they do, where it's like, it feels like just the PlayStation Portal, things like that, where it's like, PlayStation isn't necessarily like working on this thing. It's coming from the hardware team again. They want to like always get Sony involved with what's going on at PlayStation, because PlayStation is the breadwinning brand. But I don't think Sony's like in there micromanaging that stuff too much.
Okay. Because I can't help but think the way that Concord has been positioned is like they're so ready to Concord.
Oh, I thought we were talking about Bad Fur Day. Okay.
No.
I perked up for a second.
Didn't mean to activate you, Dan. I'm sorry. The way they've been positioning that with like it being so story heavy in all of the trailers, it just makes me feel like y'all have something in your back pocket that you think is going to be a big hit, like Concord the series.
I honestly think that is a little bit of drinking their Kool-Aid on this, where it's like Sony games are important because they have this prestige attached to them. And where does that prestige come from? Well, like, this could be an HBO show. And I think they sort of talk themselves into that way of thinking. And so when they're like, well, what is a game that will get the executives at PlayStation excited, that we can pitch, that we can get a budget for, and then the developers sort of lead themselves into, it's an Overwatch, but it's going to have the prestigious video, cinematics in between everything that make the game feel important. And so, yeah, I think they work themselves into a shoot a little bit with that. All right, let's see here. Next story. Sega files a trademark for Yakuza Wars. Sega has filed a trademark for Yakuza Wars in Japan, suggesting a new video game product related to the Like a Dragon series. Previously, Sega changed the series' Western name from Yakuza to Like a Dragon. There's a show coming, all this other stuff. We don't know much about what Yakuza Wars is going to be. In my head, when I hear that, I think of tactics games, strategy RPGs, things like that, and I think that's a really good fit for this series.
Yeah,
that
I
sounds
immediately think of that. If not that, then maybe Muso. But I think
that crossed my mind also because of the wars.
But also think about like how much they did turn-based RPG and did it well in a unique way. It didn't just mimic like old battle systems or anything like that. So like it makes me so excited about like what would their take be on if it is like a tactical like what is the Yakuza version of that?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and they play, like Minto mentions in chat, they've had RTS modes in some of the earlier games and things like that where there are clearly a lot of them experimenting with the genres in Like a Dragon proper and breaking one of those out into its own thing. You could see how that would easily happen. Like, I won't be surprised in a couple of years we get a standalone Dandoko game, for example.
100%. Like, I didn't expect to dig Kunitsugami Path of the Goddess as much as I do, but like, that's spinning that RTS-ish model, and I could see the Yakuza team doing some magic with that.
Yep, same here.
What was the multiplayer mode in Pikmin 4?
Dandori.
Yeah, right. I want to say Dandoko. Yeah,
that was great. Actually, I could have played more
fantastic.
of
that. Yeah,
I want to do next time we're in person. We should do some of those.
Okay, sounds good. That'd be great. Yeah, Dandori's great. But yeah, I think that what you're getting there at, Jen, is that there is a foundation where they're like, let's take strategy, let's take real-time strategy, turn-based, whatever, and then let's make a Like a Dragon game sort of inspired by that, and then they could layer so many other things on top of that and really make it its own.
I know that
either way, this is exciting to me.
I know that the teams at Sega don't work super closely together all the time, but like Persona 5 Tactico, I thought was a very good tactics game, and then I wouldn't mind the Yakuza twist to that and seeing what else they could do, because Like a Dragon, like Infinite Wealth, y'all, it's like up there in my like top 2 of the year still, just because that combat system is so good and satisfying that, like, Dan, you're right, I want to see what they would do with a turn-based style, or if it's not like a strictly tactics based turn-based game, I want to see what they would do. Like, could they do something like a God, what was that game? Not Unicorn Overlord.
Unicorn Overlord? Oh,
no,
not that one. Tactics Ogre?
No.
Dealfield Chronicles?
Yes.
Oh, really?
Dealfield Chronicles. No. That was doing some neat things with its combat system, because it was kind of an RTS, but you have a small party instead of like a bunch of units that, like, hey, Ichiban, you go over there. Freaky man with a job board system, you go over there. I think it would be fun. I want shenanigans. Also, like, I'm all for Like a Dragon getting bigger and weirder.
Yeah, exactly. Like they're very good at keeping the franchise fresh with new entries at all times, whether those are main entries or side games. And I think getting even stranger with the side games is only a positive, and I'm excited about it. There is a development build of Call of Duty Black Ops 6 that has basically had a ton of footage leak on social media. Things like the multiplayer maps, perks, gunsmith menu. This stuff is everywhere for people who are interested in that. The one thing that I did pick up on is the Omni movement system. There's some more footage of like kind of how that works. And I guess the idea is you can sprint, run, dive, or slide in any direction at any time. Like, to me, I'm like, does that make the games like more like Quake? I don't know. Or just like
weird.
Yeah, I'm curious, and I am someone who's had a lot of fun with Call of Duties in the past, and I kind of think I am kind of waiting for something to get me back on board. I think when they went back from the advanced warfare style movement back to the boots on the ground, I'm like, oh, okay, they're already doing hey, we're returning to the old favorite, and they're kind of a little scared of trying new ideas with the core fundamentals of how the game works. At that point, I was like, all right, I think I'm mostly okay with this franchise. So I think having another chance to mess around with that, play around with that, I'm hopeful that could be something cool.
Yeah, because you can't really run backwards as fast as you can run forwards in real life.
Well, maybe you can. Not with that attitude.
it never had the same type of mobility that like Titanfall felt like, you know.
Right.
Like,
It got close with Advanced Warfare. Like,
yep. Yeah, I love the boosting around with the exosuit stuff. That was
boosting,
fun.
like side boosting in the air and things like that. That was really cool.
Give me an exosuit, please.
Do you know they almost put me in an exosuit for Advanced Warfare?
Oh, for that. Okay. Wow.
I wrote the Game Informer
the US
cover story
government.
for it. They flew me out. This is
CIA.
actually when I flew out for this trip. I was also apartment hunting because I knew I was coming to Giant Bomb. But part of the plan for that trip was they were going to take me to this like robotics place to show that like, oh, see, it's just very near future. We have this stuff now, and they were talking about like we're going to put you in an exosuit and you'll get to like lift I don't know boulders or something really heavy. And I remember like McNamara telling me like, yeah, I think they want to put you in like a robot suit, and I was like, I'm in. We're going to shoot a video. I'll have Ben Hansen film me in a robot suit, and I was very bummed that fell apart.
Whenever I think about that, I always worry about. It always occurs to me to think of the Metroid Prime, like the visor sequence where you like can scan the thing, and they show the space pirates trying to build a morph ball.
Yes.
And they're like skeletons all mangled and stuff. I'm like, that'll definitely happen to me if I get into a robot suit. Like 100% that'll happen to me.
You think you're going to be Ripley, but no, you're just going to be ripped apart.
Exactly.
Yeah, as someone that worked at a company trying to build a robot fighting league, the technology's not there yet.
Yep.
Far from it.
More details emerge on Payback. Bungie's canceled third person's Destiny spinoff. Of course, those layoffs happened at Bungie. I think did that happen kind of around last week on the Bombcast? I'm not sure if we talked about all that. Either way, 220 people were laid off. Another 155 were reassigned into Sony Interactive Entertainment. Bungie's going to be moved under Sony Interactive Entertainment. Basically, Herman Holst will be in charge, like he is with all studios, all PlayStation studios. In addition to that, Luke Smith, who was well known as the creative director on a lot of Destiny 2, he has left the company. So is Mark Noseworthy. They were both working on Payback. Payback being the next big thing for Destiny, but not Destiny 3. The reason it's not Destiny 3 is that it's more. They describe it as being more like Genshin Impact, even third person, going out into the world and running quests and stuff like that. But it was Luke Smith's game, so it was going to be the next big thing. But they canceled that a few weeks back. Luke Smith, Mark Noseworthy had nothing to work on, so they left. They were fired. Kind of doesn't matter because it's all wrapped up in that like nebulous idea of this company's in trouble. There's nothing for you to work on. What are you going to do? Just sit around and do nothing? Clearly, that wasn't an option. So they got some sort of package likely and left the company. Yeah, lot going on with Bungie, but that Payback sounded somewhat interesting, but I have no idea if it's what that fandom was going to want. But in the meantime, Destiny 2 will keep getting new content, but it's going to be smaller content twice a year. Things that it's going to be missing some of the features people are accustomed to getting when they pay for this stuff. And the game's going to have to continue like that for a while because Marathon is the next big thing from Bungie, and that's coming out next year apparently still, and a lot is riding on that game doing well for the company.
Yeah, it's like maybe Marathon's gonna like save Bungie, but it just seems like because no Destiny 3 in development right now is what everyone's saying, which is wild to me. And Destiny 2 is
and there never was, yeah,
never was. There's some support for Destiny 2, but like that's gonna look probably pretty slow right away. What does that look like in 3 years? And if you put a Destiny 3 in development now, we're not gonna see that for a while. It just feels like, you never say if something's dead forever, but boy, is Destiny just about to be in a pretty long downtime here. And it's kind of a sad thing.
And they are not going to start working on Destiny 3 right now. Like they have to like stick with what Destiny 2 is for a while, and then Marathon has to come out and do well. And all this Frontiers content that is like basically the new generation of Destiny 2 stuff needs to do well. And if all of that stuff, if all of those ifs line up, at that point, they will reassess what they're going to do with the future of Destiny.
That's a lot of hoops to jump through, Grub.
Exactly. It's going to be very up the high level of difficulty. And the more likely scenario is we look back in a couple years and it's like, okay, they are kind of paring down Bungie even further or something like that.
Imagine Marathon doesn't hit like they think it will. It kind of is terrifying.
What if it just doesn't get there to hit?
Yeah,
as well.
I mean, I don't, because they're cutting staff so deeply. Yeah,
that game's gotta come. I mean, nothing's gotta, but boy, it's probably that game never even comes out if all the hopes and dreams are on it.
Especially, it's supposed to come out next year, so they have the idea in their head that they're relatively.
What if
close
Naughty
to
Dog cancels it? That'd be funny.
Yeah, little payback. Yeah.
You said it.
Sorry, everybody. Don't mean to be making jokes. A lot of people lost their job, and here we are goofing off.
Yeah, Mike, go eat a tortilla or something.
Yeah. Come on, Mike.
Goodness.
Jesus.
If it makes you feel better, I'm realizing that this Astro Bot shirt I'm wearing, it kind of just looks like an apple, actually.
I wore that yesterday.
I thought it was a bomb.
Yeah, no, it's supposed to be Astro, but now I'm like, this looks too much like an apple. I can never wear this again.
Wow. Yeah. The future of Bungie very much still in question. There will be some answers going forward, but I think a lot of that's going to ride on, can they make people feel good about Destiny 2 again? And that seems very challenging on its own.
It's going to be rough.
Avowed, meanwhile, has been delayed until early 2025. If you remember, this is the Obsidian game that was going to be a console exclusive for Xbox. Didn't have a date. It was like 2024. Kind of seemed like it might be October, November, in that range. I think there was a leaked date for November sometime. Microsoft has publicly said, hey, we have a lot of games coming out. So do a lot of other people. Let's clear some of that space, and we're going to give this game a chance to breathe in early 2025, which I don't doubt is a factor. But also, like, you just don't delay games unless they need more time, because every day you don't put out a game, it costs money. Like, it just,
right.
And you can count up that amount of money in 5 digits and sometimes 6 digits every single day. So they won't want to do that for too long unless the game really needs it. It probably does. Whether or not that's like, for bugs or to give it a little bit more shine. Either way, I hope this game gets the love it needs, because I really want this game to hit. I like Obsidian. I like the look of this. I feel pretty positive about it, and I know that's a little bit of an anomaly. Mike, you feel very positive about it.
Yeah, like, I always think this game looks good, and I'm just excited. Like, yeah, Obsidian's making, another first-person RPG. We like when they do that, right? We haven't gotten, we don't get too many of these from other studios, really, so I thought everyone would be excited. It seems like everyone's always a little down or nonplussed about it, so maybe that's another reason to delay it a bit. Maybe work on it so you get some kind of trailer or something that can really wow people, whatever it is that they are looking for. I'm not sure. But, yeah, I just want this game to be good. If delaying helps for either what I think is the real reason, needs more time, or even just trying to get out of the way of some other fall games, sure, whatever. But no, I'm still looking forward to this one.
Let's see. I got a few more stories after this one, Jan, just to let you know that got added late. I'll let you know. But first, we'll hit this one. Nintendo sticks to its annual sales forecast as Q1 operating profit drops 70% year on year. Now, that comparison year on year is because in that previous quarter, they had the release of Twilight Princess, which basically instantly sold 20 million copies.
Tears of the Kingdom?
Tears of the what did I say?
Twilight Princess?
Oh boy, Tears of the Kingdom. Hey,
what year is he
with the
in?
letter T. So one of those letters was right. Tears of the Kingdom. They also had the Mario movie, which made a lot of money for them as well. Not, a lot of that stuff might get sent to them later. I don't know how the movie business works, but that was happening in the same quarter. So it was always going to be a tough comparison. What really is troublesome is that they do seem to be coming in under their forecast for how many Switches they're going to sell this year. They want to sell 13.5 million. They claim that they're going to continue to hit. They're still going to hit that. If they're going to do that, they either need some big game that gets people to buy a lot of Switches. Now that maybe that is Pokemon ZA. What is it, guys?
Pokemon Legends ZA.
Yeah,
right. Yeah.
Maybe the ZA comes through and really crushes. That seems likely at a certain point, as long as it comes out in this fiscal year, and then there always could be a price drop. Now that I'm like a little bit more suspicious of, because I don't know if Nintendo wants to drop the price on hardware right when it's getting ready to launch new hardware for likely a higher price. I think they want that point of comparison to be as high as possible. So it'd be like, well, it's only $50 or $100 more for this thing. I'll just get that, and it's new and shiny. But I don't know. Well, how are you guys feeling about Switch being able to sell a ton more systems this year?
I feel like it's impossible to not just look ahead to the 2 or whatever it's called at this point. Like, it's had its run. It's got a couple more things coming out this year.
Everyone's got one or a couple of Switches already. It's saturated.
Unless it gets heavily reduced in price.
That feels like the one option. But
I know you're skeptical of it, but I'm like, there's gotta be maybe be a holiday price cut. Like, finally,
how much is an OLED
over there?
How much does an OLED go for right now? $350.
Wow. And it was always $350, and that was $50 more than the Switch original, which never went down in price. It's still $300.
Yeah, it's pretty nuts now.
Wow.
Even $50 there, like a $300 still kind of seems like
a
lot for a Switch OLED in
holiday
2024.
Discounting, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. Because they sell some games. They've had some games, but it's been like more niche stuff. like, Nintendo World Championship, we love. MEO is coming out in a bit,
Right.
and that's even more niche than maybe Nintendo World Championship. It had stuff like Luigi's Mansion 2. Not none of them bad games, but they don't have a Zelda or a Mario. We have a Mario Party coming out, and that will definitely that'll do some numbers.
It'll sell
for
very
sure.
well. Yeah, that'll be the big holiday family game that gets picked up. People always talk about. The grandma's at the store buying a game. She actually does show up to the store to buy Mario Party. Like that's
Sure.
Hell yeah,
Grandma. Brothership, but the Mario RPGs never sell as much as the new 2D or 3D Mario game. I think.
Well, they're doing better. Thousand Year Door is the fastest selling RPG from Nintendo. I think they said, or something like that. Mario RPG, something along those lines.
It seems insane that Nintendo just dropped the ball with Animal Crossing with how well it did for them during the pandemic.
Yeah, but I mean, from their point of view, it's not going to look that way because. Do you know how many copies that game has sold?
An insane amount, yes.
45 million copies.
Like, think about if
they dropped the ball.
Well,
yeah,
it's supporting it. Like,
No,
they
I
definitely
agree
did.
with that.
They
It's a
clearly
crazy
did.
number.
And it's but they made all of the money in the world from it. So there's
Like,
only one
they
game on the
could've-
Switch that sold better, and that is Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. And there's only one game that sold better than it, I think, last quarter. Animal Crossing, it continues to sell. It's like picking up its pace, actually. And Mario Kart is losing pace. So there's a world in which maybe Animal Crossing starts selling more than Mario Kart again.
Up the
Probably a
CC
long
you're
way
on
away.
then, man, if you're losing pace.
Number 3,
200.
Smash Brothers. Let's go, Smash Bros.
Yep. And the Switch has something like that list came out, and there was more than 50 games that have sold 1 million copies. So just a huge success across the board. And at some point, you're not going to be able to maintain that momentum. Here we are, and it's just happening.
It's been a long time, man. It has been.
And Sean was mentioning in chat that some folks that track this sort of thing, it looks like ZA likely won't come out till the second half of the year. So that's not this fiscal year.
Dang.
I think there might be a price cut. I also think they're just not going to hit that target. I think.
I think both aren't out of the question. All right, some of these other headlines that kind of just popped off. Final Fantasy 16 apparently has a game-ready driver profile for NVIDIA Game Ready and Studio Driver 560.81 that was released this morning. That is usually the kind of thing that happens after a game releases, or right as it's releasing. They have those game-ready drivers in there. So this is something that we could probably expect pretty soon. I don't know, maybe Gamescom?
Maybe.
yeah.
I mean, they've been talking pretty openly about working on a PC version.
Oh, yeah, it's been coming. Yes, clearly.
It's been coming. So, but, that's a pretty interesting sign that maybe it's sooner than we even thought.
Yep, I think Gamescom's not out of the question. Also, they did confirm that Star Wars Jedi Survivor is coming to Xbox One and PlayStation 4 on September 17th of this year.
Why?
God, I'm still curious to see what those look like because those games just do not. That game does not run great on PS5 and Xbox Series X.
It's always so weird to think of games that are so clearly identified with one generation and remember, oh yeah, that came out on the PS2 or the Wii or something like that. It's like,
Right.
oh, I wonder what that looks like. And this is going to be an exact example of that. It's
gonna be
10
looking
years
at
from now.
It's like looking at Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4 on the
Yeah.
PS1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like what? That one? I know 3 did, and that seemed fishy, but 4?
3 was okay. 4 was maybe just take it out
Just
back
don't.
now.
I think it's real easy to read this sort of thing as the industry's in a weird place, that that people aren't buying the new hardware, and that's bad. I think it's actually more a good sign that people are still so interested in gaming that they are still playing their PS4s and they're not letting the FOMO get to them. They want to be participating in games. They just don't have they can't justify spending $500 on hardware to play a lot of the same games. So if they can get access to the handful of new games that are exclusive to the next gen, they're taking advantage of that. And I think the industry is making the right call in most cases in continuing to cater to that audience.
It's a smart choice.
Yeah, do you think that maybe scares people? Because I think some of us feel like, man, we're maybe on the other half of this generation, right? And it kind of feels like a whole lot hasn't happened. But the idea that it feels like that, and so many people are still on PS4s. I mean, does that maybe give them pause about really thinking about those next consoles, or is it a matter of, well, we'll release the next consoles, and then maybe those people will just get on the PS5 finally, either through buying them cheap, having a friend give them one when they get their PlayStation 6. I don't know.
I think you were sort of talking, I think they're having that conversation, and they're likely talking themselves into the future of console generation refreshes maybe could use a little bit of a rethink, and maybe they do happen a little bit more frequently, and we do get systems that are basically pro models and come out every 3 or 4 years or something like that. But these are going to be the same thing going forward. Essentially, they're going to feel like the same console over and over. So you might as well let people continue to play the games as long as they can.
Do you think we could see a future where PlayStation or Xbox kind of adopts like an Apple model with like an iPad, right? Like
that might be like annual's like kind of aggressive, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know, but maybe.
It makes me think. I was reading the YouTube comments on a Giant Bomb video, Dan.
Oh my god!
And it was when we played Marvel Rivals, and somebody's like, "This somebody's like, Concord's way better. Concord looks like a modern game. This looks like a PlayStation 4 game." And I was just thinking, what the hell does that even mean?
And also, it's like, they want this thing to run everywhere. So that's what you're seeing. You're seeing a game that can eventually run on phones. Like big shock.
Yeah.
And honestly, Concord's going to be a situation where they wish they had that. So, all right. So I think maybe one last one here. Yes.
Talk about Half-Life 3. I heard that got confirmed.
Yeah. So Half-Life 3.
I believe.
Okay. Yeah. Half-Life 3 is the thing that going around because what was it? There was a leaked game name
trademark
or
something.
Yes, trademark.
I don't know.
Yeah, and there is references to Half-Life, and then Tyler McVicker, who is does a lot of news stories on YouTube about Valve and Steam, was like, "Hey, this is a name I've heard before, and I don't think it's a VR game. I think it's the next real Half-Life game," and that has people thinking maybe it's Half-Life 3.
Yesterday, you said it was a code name for a new Valve project.
Thank you, I appreciate that. Okay, yes, so yes, that is. You do believe, Mike, for real, for shoot?
Well, look, I think you ran your Game This Morning poll, and not till you have spoilers for tomorrow, but like, do you think Half-Life 3 will ever happen? And most people in that poll said no. Oh, come on. It's going to happen someday. What people don't bring up, maybe because, not enough people actually beat Half-Life Alyx or are able to play it, because it's a VR game. It has a cliffhanger ending setting up Half-Life 3. Now, granted, so did episode 2. I get it. But it's gonna happen at some point. I don't know if it's gonna happen next year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years.
It'll happen.
They are going to eventually make a product called Half-Life 3.
I think you are 100% right about that. All right, the real last thing I hear, the X-Men are coming to Fortnite.
What?
That's fun. Yep.
Wow.
What?
And not Cyclops, probably.
Have you seen it, Chad?
Is it Cyclops?
It's fucking Cyclops, and he is in his blue and yellow X-Men 97 ass look, and it is fantastic. You know what?
Up, Jan.
I'm going to just copy. I'll copy image link, and I will just put it in the chat right now, because I would describe it as shit hot. It is good
Holy
stuff.
shit!
Oh, he looks good.
It
Look at that man!
Real good.
Oh my god, it's fucking Jubilee.
Yep, and Colossus.
Two of my favorite X-Men.
I love. Well, we were playing the X-Men arcade game, and my favorite video game sound effect ever, I think, is when Colossus does his music moves like.
It's really good.
Every single time. I remember just being in arcades and hearing that from across the room. Like, hell yeah, there goes Colossus. There goes my hero.
Jan, it's called dapping. When Michael Heim comes and tries to give me a handshake.
Yeah.
Okay, so there is that dapping emote in Fortnite.
Oh, and Ryu's in it.
And Ryu's in the game already. It can happen. Ryu and Cyclops can dap each other up so hard, and you're going to see that a lot when this game, or when these guys actually release.
How many V-Bucks do I have right now?
That does it for the news. Thank you so much, Jan, but I'm handing this show back over to you.
God, the biggest injustice of those newer X-Men movies is how much they fucking fumbled the bag with Jubilee. Lana Condor was the perfect casting as Jubilee, yet they fucked it up. I hate Ty Sheridan as Cyclops. Worst fucking Cyclops ever casted. Let's fade to black before I get too shit hot. Oh my god.
Good breath control, man.
Yeah, that was impressive.
You are my anchor character being.
Oh, yeah, Mike loves
the
that.
anchor being.
Yeah. Oh, jeez. Yeah. When I think of a big metal man, I think of you, Mike Minot.
Oh yeah.
I think of Metal Man from Mega Man 2, but that's good too.
If there's 2 seconds of dead air, Mike will go into song.
The gremlins will come get me again and drink my water.
Hey, everyone test it. Quiet.
All right, Bombcast@giantbomb.com is the email address to send your emails to. Send virtually any and everything you want. You want us to discuss. You got some news. You got some quandaries, questions, quizzes, fan castings.
Quandaries?
Yeah, sure. If you send your Quan Chi fanfics to bombcast@giantbomb.com.
They're probably out there.
You know, based off of the things people sent to this email address, it is not the weirdest thing to send. First email comes from Blake in Texas. Hey, Bombers. I think we can all agree that the Xbox controller A button is much better than the Switch A button placement. But that leads me to the real question. What is the canonical X button location? All 3 controllers have it, and I feel like only one can win this very important battle. Love the show. Blake in Texas.
Can I go to the
also
Xbox one?
Xbox.
I think it's Xbox, yeah. I mean, here's the thing. Xbox also had the benefit of, most people in the last 10, 15 years, if they're using a controller on PC, are using an Xbox controller at post 360. And so we're so used to seeing, X to reload, and it's the Xbox X. So I feel like that's the one my head goes to first, even if the other one's predated,
Yep, I agree. Yeah, I don't hate the controller or the placement of A on the Nintendo controllers. I get used to it. I'm fine with it these days, even going back and forth between that and Xbox controller. But yeah, if I were to build my own controller the way Backlar built his own keyboards, I would put the button placement the way the Xbox has it, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah, I shuffle between those 2 controllers so much that I'm pretty good at just adjusting. But the one thing, when I play Nintendo, I get used to the different AB pretty quickly. I don't even know why I think of it as the different AB. I've probably used more Nintendo controllers than Xbox ones at this point in my life. But yeah, I still think of that Xbox as the default. But I can adjust to the AB. X being on the top on the Nintendo stuff feels kind of awful to me.
Right. I always struggle with that one because for me it was why, as jumping in Oblivion and Skyrim became that's where I just press this button up here to hit Y to do that, and it's so hard to get that mixed around in my head.
What I like that they do in some Switch games and some PC games is instead of highlighting the specific button like X, A, etc., they just put the placement on the controller. And it's all right, I can get down with this.
Yeah, I kind of like that. Yeah, I think didn't the Demon Slayer game we played did that? Maybe I'm making that up.
Oh, I don't remember. I try to forget that.
I remember I won, and then I got depressed that weekend.
God, I just want to send you a different anime to get upset about, Mike.
Yeah.
But I almost don't want to do that to you.
Maybe I should watch Evangelion or whatever.
I thought that was good.
Yeah, I bet it's sad.
Yeah.
Lots of teenagers getting corrupted and used by the military till they probably die or something.
It's more confusing than that.
A skosh. All right, next email. Mike, calm down. We're still
just a little one.
just a taste.
Man, it's residual roids happening right now or something.
Jesus, Sky Riz.
Yeah, withdraw.
Yes, the Sky Rizzy.
I have a little. I think I'm a week away from my next dosage, so maybe I'm feeling a little unrizzed at the moment.
Well, I hope you get rizzed up soon.
Thank you. Me too.
Tommy from Virginia writes in, "Hey Bombcast, I've always loved deck building games. I've always loved deck building roguelike games like Slay the Spire or Monster Train. When I heard the buzz around Balatro, I bought it immediately. However, having never played poker, I was intimidated. I waited months before trying it and then ended up loving it. I just did something similar with Fights in Tight Spaces. Great game, but I waited forever. Are there any games you hesitated to play for some reason, but you ended up liking/loving it when you eventually did? Thanks for all you do. Sincerely, Tommy from Virginia."
It took me a long time to give Hollow Knight a shot, but I think it was one of you guys recommended Hollow Knight to me, and so I checked it out right away.
No, you discovered that, as far as I know.
Oh, is that just me? Yeah, I was just looking for something that was good on Steam Deck. That's right. And I remember it's on the great on deck section. Is probably how I discovered that. I tried to stop
you, right?
That's right. Yeah, and I was like, no, I'm going to try this. It looks really cool. I like the art style, and Hollow Knight's really good.
Yeah, I mean, Dark Souls. I just talked about that. I don't know why it took me so long to. Because it wasn't just like my first playthrough. It's not a thing like Beyond Good and Evil where I at least like had tried it before and like liked it. I had never started up Dark Souls 1 before until I did this playthrough. And it's more of a series, but for some reason I didn't get into Pikmin until finally Pikmin 4 came out.
Right.
And I was like,
wow,
no, this freaking rules, actually. What the hell's wrong with me?
Yeah, there's definitely examples of where this has happened to me. I just can't think of any right now. But yeah.
Paper Mario 2 was one that I loved Paper Mario 1. I love Mario. I don't know why I didn't play it until like the pandemic, and turns out that's really good.
Right.
That's like one of my favorite things about this year is the 1,000-Year Door remake coming out. Not just because I loved it, but it's because like I don't know, so many more people are talking about it and seeing how great it is. That game makes me so happy.
It took me a while to try out the SSX games because I was just so heavily Tony Hawk pilled that I'm like, no, skateboards for life, fuck snowboarding.
Yeah.
And then Sean White broke down the glass ceiling there in between the two.
Cool Borders did.
Yeah. Oh, excuse me.
All right, next email comes from Jones in St. Paul, and they write in about D&D. Hey, Bombinos. I love the idea of Giant Bomb actually playing a D&D game and may have an idea that could circumvent the confusion Dan Riker is worried he may have. May I interest you in Worldwide Wrestling? It's a tabletop RPG, much like D&D, in the Powered by Apocalypse system, but the whole shtick is that you are playing wrestlers who fit roles and craft storylines. The PBTA system, Powered by the Apocalypse, is also pretty simple to understand. It's a lot more narrative focused as opposed to being a combat simulator like D&D. Just some food for thought. Also, I attended WWE Raw in St. Paul last week, the same show Dan was at, and now I'm hooked. That's what I thought.
I was not there.
He would never set foot in St. Paul. That's the boring side he told me.
Any tips for someone who's just beginning to get into wrestling in his late 30s? And if I see Dan at SmackDown, what should I shout at him? Big fan of the show. Kiss on the cheek. Jones in St. Paul.
You should shout.
Actually, if you see me at a wrestling show, do that. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Boy, getting into I'll ignore the D&D part. Just getting into wrestling in your late 30s.
There's never been a better time.
You just jump in, right? You just start watching it and keeping up with it, and then maybe eventually I just go Google what are the best pay-per-views and maybe watch some of those retroactively.
Well, there's a bunch of like YouTube like here's the history of The Undertaker, and you can just watch that.
And that's the thing, like wrestling does such a good job of, it's like Nintendo, how they're constantly like, Switch Online or NES, here's all our old stuff. Wrestling's doing that too all the time, specifically WWE. And so like, if you just start watching Raw and SmackDown, you're going to start osmosis, like picking up some stuff like, oh, Cody Rhodes keeps talking about his dad. Let me Google Cody Rhodes' dad. And if you just put that in YouTube, there will be any number of matches and documentaries.
And there's some really good documentaries too.
Yes, wrestling has so much coverage for so long and so many fucking podcasts. So as deep as you want to go into it, you can go into it. Like if you're interested about like old stuff, Deadlock always does a retro review every week. You know, you just, we're talking about this Raw from 1998 and joking about it and what was important about it and stuff. Like, but just start watching the shows. I would not have said that at any point between 2001 and maybe like a year or two ago.
Yeah.
Because just watching the weekly shows was fucking rough for like 20 plus years. But now it's actually really fucking good. And we'll talk about that more on the Power Bombcast. But just start watching it. Yeah.
Yeah, and if the presentation of WWE doesn't necessarily hook you, there are the great thing now is that there are a lot of alternatives. If AEW doesn't hook you because it's more so focused on the matches, maybe something like Impact might hook you, or even New Japan.
Yeah,
also, is Lucha Underground still worth going back to?
It's not. It's not around anymore. But circling back
didn't
to
have like 2 or 3 like seasons of storytelling.
Yeah, first maybe 2 seasons.
That's not a year 1 assignment for your blossoming.
Yeah,
I just thought it was like interesting and different. Like
sure, no, for sure.
You know, I might suggest Lucha Underground. Actually, yeah, I think it's on Netflix. I want to say
it was at one
People
point.
Died.
People died.
Kayfabe,
like me.
Work died. Yeah.
Yes.
God.
Yeah.
talking about that D&D wrestling thing, I feel like Dan's reaction would be like Hank Hill when he like listens to Christian rock. He'd be like, "Can't you see? You're not making D&D great. You're just making pro wrestling worse."
It's like that's the thing. It's like I know e-feds and stuff were always a big thing among like hardcore wrestling fans, and like I kind of dipped my toe in that briefly in high school, and I was like, I don't know if I need to do this.
I had a friend who did one of those, like you like mailed in like your promos, and then you got like there's like a general manager who like told you what your matches were and like what the results were. Yeah, it seemed like a whole thing.
Teach their own, but I would try D&D. But again, I feel like I've always heard people say like Austin Walker is the greatest dungeon guy of all time, and like I've done a couple with him, and I enjoyed my time. We did some fun like Christmas episodes and stuff like that, but like. I just don't get it, and I don't know if I need to. That's not to say that.
Just do it without Dan, is what I think.
No, if you did it, I would give it a shot. And like, look, Mike, look at you taking me to Disneyland. You know how open I was to that. I would go into D&D with the same mindset, but I wouldn't guarantee I'd like it.
D&D though.
Well, what if it's wrestling D&D though?
That might be, like I said, that might just make it worse. I don't know. As we're gonna do D&D, I mean, is that really a big problem with D&D for you? The fact that it's fantasy and you don't like fantasy?
No, it's just the whole thing. It's just I just don't understand what the point in the end is. It's like how do you win? What are you doing? What's the objective? Like, and I don't think throwing wrestling on it is going to fix that.
Right.
Bailey has thrown around and tossed the idea of running a wrestling campaign for us. So maybe we do that for an afternoon or something.
Okay.
That'd be
I would try it.
All right. Yeah. That'd be fun.
We could go into a tabletop simulator and throw some die in there.
Oh, sure. Yeah. That'd be fun.
Oh, would it have dice?
Yes, it would definitely have dice. Be fine, no Dan. Matter what, it's going to have dice.
I feel like we just have better technology than dice these days.
Digital dice.
They should have. Okay, great.
It's just a random number generator. Why did the dice throw you off so much?
What is the deal there?
It just seems like something, J.R.R. Tolkien would have been doing in 1950 or something.
Well, that's wrong.
Well, that's one wrong. So what if it was?
Dice is all he had, Dan.
It's just an efficient way of randomly assigning a number with a specific range.
We got like switches and computers and stuff now.
Yes, and then all those games do that.
And they'll just use digital dice. Yeah, fine.
Well, that's why Baldur's Gate wasn't fun to me because the fucking dice showed up all the time.
I'll tell you what. That was one of the weird things. I don't like seeing this and visualize dice.
Look, historically, I've never liked any game with dice in it. Everyone knows that.
What have dice done to you?
Oh my God,
did the dice kill your dog?
You love dice.
Craps is my favorite casino game, and Mario Party is one of my favorite games of all time.
Right,
but that does dice in cool ways.
Right. It's like Disney fruit.
When I make a decision in life, if I'm like, I wonder if I should put these shoes on or those shoes, I don't roll dice. I just do the thing.
Yeah,
and
but
like most video games and stuff, you just act. I don't understand actions being dictated by dice.
Oh, but you don't understand that there's variability in real world. Like when you email someone to say, hey, can I get something? And like maybe they're in a bad mood and you can't account for those variables. And so all the dice
then I'll read the room and I'll adjust.
Right, and you could do that in the game as well. But talking to them, it's still taking a chance because you don't know how they're going to react. And so the dice is just a metaphor for you not being able to account for everything in life. That's all.
I'm not a big metaphor guy.
That's weird, I guess. Yeah, all right. I guess you were the biggest metaphor guy in my head. I don't know where I got that mixed up.
Mike, don't take this the wrong way, but I feel like you don't have 1 through 6 dice. I feel like your personal die is like 5 through 7. They're always operating at a high.
I got them all. Oh, you don't mean literally, do you?
No.
No, I don't. I mean, that sounded like an insult, but I'm not really sure what it meant.
No, it's
just like you're down is why.
Right, you got a +1, but it's a small range, but it's a good range. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, I think.
Yeah. Tortillas. Next email. Don't know who this comes from. What was your favorite board game as a child?
Grape Escape.
Grape Escape?
Do you remember that? It was one where...
Is this from the Depression? What the fuck are you talking about?
I'm going to make sure this is real. I'm Googling it. Yep. Okay.
Were there dice?
Paul Riker found it in a parking lot and just like someone just wrote some shit on some paper.
Yeah. What the hell is
No, I had this at my mom's house. It was probably expensive.
You can still buy Grape Escape.
You would make your character out of Play-Doh.
Oh.
And then it would have like little guillotines and smashers and stuff, like almost like mousetrap style thing. So it's like, oh, if you land on this space, your dude gets like chopped in half, and then I don't know if you had to like rebuild him or something like that. But yeah, it was a fun gimmick.
I didn't like board games because I was an only child and I would have to play the board games by myself.
Oh,
yeah.
I had brothers and friends, so they ruled.
Shut up, Mike.
I love board games. I had Trouble. I thought Trouble was fun. Because I like that weird little bubble dice thing that was always hit the good.
Oh yeah, the pop. Yeah.
Yeah, I always liked the idea of Mousetrap, and then you like putting it together took forever, and then it wouldn't work. And then it wouldn't work. So
I so rarely actually played the game. You just put it together and did the, not MCS, the Rube Goldberg thing,
Yeah, it was a good commercial.
Operation was fun. I like Operation.
Terrifying.
Operation's fun.
Perfection.
Monopoly's always great. There's a reason why it's kind of the go.
You know what's good? And I'll put
Texas
this over.
Hold'em.
Monopoly
that is
Go.
also good.
Available on iPhones now.
Oh, is that the card game? Because we went over to Ben Hansen's a couple weeks ago. Oh, wait, okay, whatever it is, it's Monopoly Deal or something. It's a card game. Yeah, we went to Hansen's and he introduced it to me, and that thing is fun as hell. It's like a lot better than Shoot Monopoly.
I almost ended a relationship because someone got to shoot hot at me because I kept winning in Monopoly Deal.
Nice. It's very fun.
I like Trivial Pursuit a lot, but it's always a very difficult situation to navigate socially because there's always like somebody who it just doesn't do quite as well, and then it's fine, but they feel very self-conscious about it, and they kind of make it everybody else's problem.
Sure.
Yeah.
Mike's problem is he's too good at Trivial Pursuit that he embarrasses his friends.
No, I'm not. That was a good
story. I liked where all the humble bragging happened.
I'm also not very good. Trust me, there's like categories that are rough, but
same.
It's always like one person is like, I'm sorry, I'm so stupid, and they say that every time they get it wrong because they're very self-conscious, and I get it. It's a terrifying situation. Then they quit halfway through, and it's kind of like it's a little weird. Like, what are we gonna do with this person's pieces? Somebody else want to play, and then they come, but they're not into it, so they're just like talking to their friend the whole time. It's like one of the, is it my turn? Yes. Oh, you want to get me? You want to get me? You play a game with me. And you don't know when it's your turn. That I think is my number one.
Next time we play Mario Party with Minotti,
the world.
Every time it's our turn in Mario Party, we need to not hit A until Mike freaks out.
Yep, it won't be very long.
Yeah. I know. It's like, how do you not know it's your turn? All I am thinking about when I'm playing these games is like, my turn is 2 from now. Person to my left is taking their turn. My turn will be
when
next.
It's not my turn. People should be asking, when is it Mike's turn?
Exactly. They'll always be like, talks like, like taking a drink. Everyone's just kind of staring at them awkwardly. There's like a long pause, like, oh, is it me? And I so badly like, yes, yes, it is you.
All right,
you fucking asshole.
This definitely happened during Anime Mario Party when it was my turn a couple times. So, yeah.
Oh yeah. If you ever hear me play, you'd be like, it's your turn, Jeff. Just know that I.
Oh no, there was definitely times where you were like, how do you not know it's your turn? How do you not know?
Yeah.
All right. So when Jamboree comes out, Grub and Jan. I'm going to be working, so you don't need to say anything. I'm feeding for Mike. Okay.
Yep. I'm sorry. Is it my turn?
No problem.
Wait. Was it my turn?
My turn?
I thought it was Mike's turn.
I also enjoy playing Sequence. It's a fun board game.
Right, board games.
Sequence is fun. Next email is directed towards Mike. Hello, Bombcast. I've never been big into Disney movies, but ever since I've had kids, I found myself at movie theaters watching the newer ones often. I love being around people who are passionate about things, and it's been very fun to hear Mike nerd out on all things Disney. So I was very curious to hear Mike's thoughts on Disney's newer movies like Strange World and Wish, which have gotten very negative reception, but I didn't think it was that bad. Also, any discussion on your favorite newer Disney movies would be fun too.
I did not like Wish. I thought
Wish was bad.
I used this word for the Grand Theft Auto remasters. I thought Wish was kind of pathetic with all of its weird callbacks, and it's just formulaic, and it was pretty lame. I didn't even see Strange Worlds. It kind of just bummed me out how much of a bomb that one was.
Which one was Strange World?
That was the sci-fi
adventure one, yeah.
Sci-fi adventure. I'll have to watch that at some point. But I mean, I like a lot of the new ones from before. I think Moana is actually fantastic. I like Frozen 1 a lot, actually. Frozen 2 is but the music's very good.
Music's good.
Frozen, yeah. Wreck-It Ralph 2 is but Wreck-It Ralph 1, I mean, it's a Disney movie about video games. That movie rules. So I think they still make plenty of good movies. They have some misses, but
I agree with this. As a parent taking a kid to a movie, Wish is fine. It's not that bad. And they've rewatched it a bunch of times, and I think some of the music's kind of catchy, even though it's clearly not as catchy as a lot of the stuff they've done recently. Sure. It's fun.
Big Hero 6 is great. Love
Hero 6 rules.
Big Hero 6 is a lot of fun, yeah.
Baymax is a great character.
Yeah. Zootopia is very good also.
I saw Mike watch a bunch of Bluey over the weekend.
Yeah, Bluey's very good. Disney just distributes that in the U.S., but I do like Bluey.
I was surprised at how big Zootopia was in Tokyo Disney. Like multiple people Disney bounding so much Zootopia merch. It was weird.
Yeah. I mean, it was big here, but it's huge, I think, in a lot of Asian countries. You should watch. There's a Zootopia ride in the Shanghai Disneyland that's basically uses that Rise of the Resistance trackless technology. It's very advanced line. It looks really cool. So yeah, they're making a Zootopia too. So they're not done with Zootopia.
My favorite, I guess, not modern Disney movie because this came out 10 years ago, was the last theatrical animated Winnie the Pooh movie.
I did like that movie, and not very many people saw it. I thought that it was very fun. Had good music. I'm a big Winnie the Pooh guy, though. I like Winnie the Pooh. I think that movie came out like the same weekend as the last Harry Potter movie, right? And they were tried to poke fun of that in like the commercials. It was like, oh, that's a bad idea. You shouldn't do that, actually. But they did. So, oh well.
It just has the best joke in it where some of the characters are down in a hole and they're just yelling at Piglet, "Can you not? Can you not? It's great. It's great.
It's good. Like who's on first?
Yeah.
Encanto, also very good.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Encanto is
I almost
amazing.
forgot about Encanto. Encanto is fantastic. Again, very, very good music in that one.
If you were ever a fan of Brooklyn Nine-Nine and Rosa Diaz's character, seeing Stephanie Beatrice like complete switch and playing someone super bubbly with a high voice, it's amazing to see. Next email comes from Yowie Bunga. Good name. Hi, Bomb Crew. I have built a human-sized microwave. For every 1 second you spend in the microwave, you will receive $10,000 untaxed. How long will you spend in the microwave? You only get one turn in the microwave, so you can't just do 1 second per day for the rest of your life. One go, that's it. Good luck and good cooking, Yowie Bunga.
All right, who wants to make a Metal Gear Solid 4 joke first? Really, Dan?
Zero.
Not even a second in the microwave.
Look, microwaves aren't like ovens. If this is like an oven situation, it's like, all right, it's going to be really hot and uncomfortable. Microwaves are going to like scramble your atoms and fuck up your brain. Or like, I'm not fucking with that
water
at all.
It mostly hits. Like the microwaves normally like hit the moisture inside.
Yeah, they sap the water.
And we're like 80% water.
Yeah, not fucking touching it.
Like our eyeballs are just sacks of water, and they're like right there on the surface. My guess would be even a second would probably do some damage to. I don't think you'd be dead, but I think you would do some damage to clear your skin. But I think it could do like permanent damage to something in your eye.
Can I close my eyes?
Fuck with that.
No, I don't
know. I don't think your eyelids are thick enough to stop all those microwaves.
Yeah, I guess I'm not gonna risk it.
Like if you microwave like a big thing of meat or something, the center is cold, so maybe it would just get your like outer parts and like your inner organs.
You're not going to die after a second.
Okay.
But I wouldn't even do it in a second unless I had like a lot of evidence before me saying that like the sensitive areas, all of the sensitive areas would be fine after a second.
I absolutely will not do it. No.
Microwaves are weird. We've had those forever. Right?
I have other ways to make $10,000. Like we could figure something out. If I had to make $10,000,
yeah.
I'll open up the
bodies.
Fansly. It's fine. Yeah, I'll open up the OnlyJans. We'll make it happen. I'll put these DSLs out there, guys.
If you had to, if like something happens, like you need $10,000 in a week, I wonder what all of us would start doing.
I would get a second job, maybe.
A week? You're gonna get a job in a week and get your first paycheck? No, that money's due in a week, or bad shit's going down.
I would email a lot. I'd email a lot of companies.
Yeah, that would. I'd probably just start selling shit.
I would sell stuff, but I would also put on like a community center, like a dance party thing. Like, let's raise money. I would have a big thermometer.
Yeah. Let's raise money for me. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I would just have a fake big check and say that I'm going to reward this to someone, but you have to donate money to me. I'd start a cult.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Let's start a cult.
I think by day 6, you would have the money coming in. Yeah.
Thank you.
Should we have a competition to see who can start and run the most successful cult?
Sure.
Well, I have Illuminati as the name, so I already am like way ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
I could just deal with something with like, I don't know, ex-Catholics or whatever.
Sure.
Yeah.
They're
Those are just
raring to
Catholics.
get in cults.
What are you talking
Exactly. They're starving to believe in something again because of all that latent Catholic guilt.
Yeah.
about?
All right, and go. Start the cult.
Oh shit. Fuck.
We all sprint out of the room.
It's just the cult of
Cult is
Colossus.
I was about to. I know. I was about to. I was like, wait, it's gonna sound like the Colossus thing, and I've gone to that well too many times. I maybe have one more, and I want to save it to the end.
Don't expose the business, brother.
That's
What
the
was-
kid that doesn't eat the marshmallow. He's like saving his last one. Oh, what a good boy.
See, I'm thinking about these things.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? I'm gonna go to this underground Mahjong den and start talking about people. It's like, you ever feel like you don't belong somewhere? Aren't you looking for a place where like you feel at home?
There it is.
I'll tell you
yeah.
what. I think people at Underground Mahjong would be like very good targets for your cult. Yeah.
I'm sitting here thinking of what the first move I would make, and for some reason, the first thing that came to mind is we would have trampolines.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
are you-
That was the first thing that sprang to mind. So my cult has trampolines. That's step one.
What's your? I'm afraid to ask this. What is the target demographic? for
We'll
your
figure
cult?
that out. But if the trampoline cult sounds fun, let's talk.
Is it? Wait, are you doing a cult like the Man Show? Like what?
You ever been to
Yeah.
a trampoline park? Dan?
The
They're really
Juggy
fun.
cult. Yeah.
Dan, have you been to like these modern trampoline parks that they make for kids?
Oh,
and stuff?
yeah, definitely. Yeah, you get
One of
tired
the
real
best-
quick. Yeah.
Yeah, one of the best parts about knowing kids is like, oh, I guess we'll take you to the trampoline park. Then
Yeah.
you just get to bounce
Okay.
around like an idiot.
All right, but here's the thing. My cult uniform is you wear the Velcro suits that are like the jumpsuits covered in Velcro, and all the walls in my trampoline park cult headquarters are Velcro. So you can just jump up
Yeah.
and just.
What does your cult
Well, that's
believe
fun.
in, Dan?
What is it? What?
Believe in?
Trampolines.
Trampolines.
You know, because
Fun is the number one thing.
yeah, exactly. Because Dan is
Call.
teaching everyone about the ups and downs of life, and sometimes you just want to get stuck on something.
Yeah, the cult's called the Fun Factory. It's just
Yeah,
it's got
and
like
so
a
when
bunch
you're
of tubes you can walk through. It serves cheap pizza. You can
and
have
there's
birthday
someone
parties.
sign spinning all the time.
Yeah, you can call it
Yep.
the Discovery Zone. Actually, yeah.
Yeah, we got mascots. We got lots of mascots, and everybody gets to turn in the mascot suit if you want. You stand
Everybody
outside,
gets
spinning
it
the
there.
sign. You know,
But yeah, very soon it's going to be non-voluntary, I imagine.
everyone put on your mascot suits.
Yeah.
The self-discovery zone's pretty good. Zappy Mufasa.
Oh, that's
like
real
that.
good.
Okay.
That's good. Everything's gimmick water. We don't have any shoot water.
Yeah, of course.
Oh, I can
Yeah.
smell the pickle giraffe now. I can smell it.
We end every day by going into like there's different stations where everybody has to do 50 turns of Mario Party before bed. And there's like a persistent scoring system, like a Grand Prix style scoring system. There's a tournament every year.
This isn't
and
a
then-
cult. It's just a bad sleepover.
Isn't that what all cults are, Mike?
I
Basically,
guess
when you think about it, they have Kool-Aid.
I feel
Well,
like
Grub
Grubs.
and I had a little sleepover after you left, Minotti, where we figured out your Blight Club game.
Yep.
Yeah.
As
That's
soon
right.
as you left.
I'm excited. Tomorrow, you guys have to tell me what platform it's on during Blight Club.
Should we just do it now?
I'm
do it
fine.
Wait
now.
for Blight Club. Wait for Blight Club, right?
No, this
do
is
it
a hot.
now.
This is a hot exclusive. This is news, baby.
Yeah,
Alright,
get
fine,
people to
tell me.
watch. Okay. All right, Mike.
Oops.
Do you have
Oh God.
Shit. I don't know why it's still playing. Okay. Exclusive.
Do you in your house have a working Nintendo Wii?
Or Wii U.
Yeah, sure I do.
All right. The game is on the way, and so is your outfit. It's already been mailed.
Oh, not the fucking Wii.
Can't
Not
wait.
the fucking Wii.
Wait.
Oh, I
Oh,
didn't
we
want
were
you to
like,
say
we
it.
were just losing it at like looking at this game.
It
so.
was more than we expected.
Is it motion controls?
No, we picked the Wii because the better graphics.
No, you're playing,
Do you know
you're playing the
us?
Virtual Console Super Metroid.
I'm like insulted a little bit, Mike. What are you doing? No, let's go have your
Yeah.
little fun controller. Use a pro
Oh, yeah.
controller, Mike.
You're
What the
doing motion
fuck?
controls. You need a nunchuck and you need a Wiimote, and you'll be
And you're
moving
gonna be
both of them,
using it
brother.
So much. There's so much waggle.
I'm not happy about this at all. What the fuck? I've been so like almost as soon as the Wii was done, I'm like, I don't think I like the Wii. I don't have any nostalgia for that.
Your
Leave me
outfit
alone.
is, I'll give you this. Your outfit Definitely one of the easiest ones.
Okay, I'm not using face paint again, at least.
Definitely nothing like that. It's pretty straightforward.
Right.
You're only getting a couple packages in the mail. So, folks at home, if you have not tuned into Blight Club yet, Grub is finishing up Daikatana either tomorrow or next week, most likely.
Yep.
And then we're moving on to Minotti, and he's busting out his Wii.
Yep. You have a name figured out? Is it a name you're proud of?
We do. We've got art has been made.
There's already art. I've seen it.
Jesus Christ. Oh, the fucking Wii. I did want to get out the Wii U at least because I want to play Metroid Prime Trilogy. So
Well, you can play this on the Wii U, so you're good for that.
I'll bust the Wii U.
Oh,
out.
boy.
I'm looking at the art right now, and it's really good.
You know what? I'm going to look at it right now, too.
Yep.
All right.
Shouts to Jerem again for helping us
Yeah.
out as always.
Oh, man. It's really good.
Oh, that's so good. Wow.
If I Google bad Wii games, you think I'd find it? Should I stop myself?
I mean,
try
it. You can try. I don't care. I don't think you're gonna find it necessarily. Like
Worst Wii games. I'm sometimes looking up these worst Blight games ever lists. As somebody who's actually not experienced a lot of the worst games ever.
Yeah, they don't
These
get
lists
it.
are stupid.
they're not on our level. They really aren't.
No.
They really
No.
aren't on our level.
For some reason, I couldn't get this out of my head, but I feel like Grub's cult would, like, at the end of the night, would just pass around like a 10-foot sub, a ham sub.
A hammy Sammy and a shared gourd of yerba mate. Yeah.
And as you take a bite and pass it down, it's like, it's an isekai. And then just pass it down.
It's an isekai.
Wow, there's
all
a big list of bad Wii games. There are a lot of bad Wii games.
Oh,
so
we had to break the seal on the Wii sooner rather than later. Like, I'm glad we're here.
And
I
this
just
is the right one.
I imagine both of you in like Grub's basement behind him, like on your tummies with your feet kicking up in the air, giggling.
I had to get on the ground because the keyboard has bad battery, so I had to get close to the thing. So I was kind of like on the ground, like hunched over. We were eating Papa John's after a long night at SummerSlam. It was a good time.
Yep. And we did not waver once we saw more of this.
Yes, like only confirmed more that it was important. Yeah, and I don't know. I'll be surprised if anyone necessarily guesses it, but who knows? If someone does, we're going to be no-selling it. So go to town, everybody.
And when we reveal it, if you're like, oh, weird, just let's watch him play because we've seen enough clips where it's like, oh, wow, okay. We do our research for Blight Club.
Yeah.
We take bad games seriously.
Yes.
That's the motto.
Yeah. And that about does it for emails. You can send your emails to bombcast@giantbomb.com. Send any and virtually everything you want to that email address. This week, like Dan mentioned, we have Blight Club, perhaps the finale of Daika Grub Katana, happening tomorrow, as well as Game S Mornings throughout the rest of the week. Power Bombcast popping off on Thursday this week, right before the voicemail dump truck, also popping off on Thursday. UPF this week will be celebrating the Olympics by having our own Olympics because I am an Olympian. If you guys didn't tune into UPF last week, we will be playing Nintendo Switch Sports and competing against each other in various spurts and seeing who reigns supreme in their respective sports. Basketball is out now, been out.
Yep. Yeah, it's been out for a few weeks now.
All right.
You don't need the strap-on gimmick for that, do you?
Nope, it's just it's just like, flicking the Joy-Con. Yeah, the Joy-Con.
The Velcro thing that came with it, right?
Oh, shoot.
No, but like the one you have to like wear on your leg for like some of the.
Oh, that's soccer.
You
Yeah,
need
yeah.
that.
No, I don't think you're gonna need that for basketball.
Okay.
Cool.
I need
The
to remember if
strap-on.
I have that game. Anyway, gentlemen, what did we learn today? We learned that Grub wins all of the arcade games, and excluding pin bowling. Beyond Good and Evil is actually kind of Italian. We learned that Mike Minotti loves raw dogging tortillas. We also learned this. We already knew this, but fuck GameStop. Shouts out to the Game Informer homies. We hope they find some stuff soon. We also learned that Dan almost got inside an exosuit. And there's never been a better time to get into wrestling. And that Austin Walker is the greatest dungeon guy. Does it have motion controls? There's so much waggle in this game. It's going to be so much waggle. I can see Mike Minotti's face. His brow is furrowed. He's trying to find out what his blight will be.
He looks like a human waggle. Come on, you should like this.
Cosbot says a lot of these bad Wii games are only like an hour long. Not this one, brother.
Yeah, that was very important. Because I'm not going to suffer through Daikatana and give this fucker some hour-and-a-half piece of shit.
How could there be a waggle game that's more than 2 hours long?
Oh, we did our research, Mike.
Oh boy, folks, that about does it for the Giant Bombcast. I've been Jan, he's been Jeff, he's been Dan, and Mike looks like he's about to be miserable. We'll see you next week for another episode of the Giant Bombcast. We'll see you then. Check out Mike's articles once they hit embargo proper times. GamesBeat. Now it's out. Galaxy Quest.
Go to GamesBeat.com. Read about Galaxy Quest, you sons of bitches.
That's right. That's how Mike treats his cult members. You sons of bitches.
I'm real tough on them. But then I lift you up when you're really down.
And then you go to the trampoline park with Dan and you just stay there.
There it is.
Fade in black. Goodbye. We'll see you next week.
Yeah.